You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. Good morning, gents.
Good morning, Connor.
Good morning.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Not too bad.
Feeling good, feeling
Watched
good.
a lot of baseball last night.
Baseball.
Like,
Oh, yeah, you had late night. How'd it turn out for your guards ball?
I was going to stop watching at roughly 10 p.m. and then watched all the way till the last out
Wow.
at like 12:01
Wow.
for some reason.
And?
A 4-1 game that the Dodgers won that Cleveland never really threatened in. But
Mm.
Shohei was pitching, so you just kind of watched that. And then, I don't know, it was just on. I wasn't ready to go to sleep, and then I just found myself at 12:01 still watching Cleveland.
I did see that there was a certain local Dodgers fan who seemed to be trying to get your attention by subtweeting you on social media.
I missed it.
Oh, good. I didn't see hardly anything. Well, I saw a few things last night because people were yelling.
I
at me.
have. Okay, so I was actually thinking about this, and this maybe is a decent jumping off point that nobody else cares
Topic
about.
alert. Topic
Before
alert.
We, possible.
By the way, local Dodgers fan says plucky Dodgers just trying to find ways to manufacture runs. Feel good story in the making.
I mean, I have a guess.
I thought that was pointed.
I have a guess. Well, I mean, a lot of people are referring to them as the plucky Dodgers these days. So
Yeah, I can only think of one.
I was thinking about this the other day. So I think the Cubs are the most popular local media baseball team.
Ooh.
But then I was trying to you're
Just amongst the local media.
Yeah, and so you're going through and you're like, you go with the team and then you're lining up who sort of fits where. And then I'm like, okay, so it'd be the Cubs have at least, a handful. And then it's like, all right, the Dodgers, I can think of I can rip off 4 names right away. The Royals, I can probably rip off for sure you, Jake, Mitch. And then after that, I had to think about it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a lot of people who are not baseball fans and then claim the Royals.
It could be.
Very
well.
And there's definitely a lot
could
of people who are not baseball fans and claim the Cubs.
Yes.
Like that happens a lot.
Certainly.
Yes.
And then there's usually the crossover where someone's NFL team is also the same city of which they root for the baseball team as well. But I was going through this and then I started to think about it. There's not really a prominent Yankees fan media member that I can think about a whole lot.
Our dear friend Matt DeMarinis is a Yankees guy.
Okay. I know Lee from the World Herald is a Yankees guy from way back.
Lee Barfneck?
Yeah.
Nice.
That was someone I had thought of in that regard. But otherwise, it's a weird. And then same with the Red Sox. I can't really think of a Red Sox guy when these are two incredibly public teams, and yet you get
Maybe the media has gotten so much younger that there's not as many Yankees and Red Sox fans.
There's an
flying
element
around
of that.
anymore.
But if you're the Cubs, it's okay. Well, you have McMaster, obviously. You have Evan Bland. You have
the Yankees
Kevin
and Red
Suits,
Sox thing.
You have
The Yankees and Red Sox thing was the Duke, North Carolina. It just always felt like when I was growing up in basketball, you were either a Duke or a North Carolina, or I suppose a Kansas fan. And then everyone was either a Creighton or Nebraska fan, on top of that. And then, or behind
it was that way in grade school.
That's kind of how I always looked at it.
Yeah, there was
and then
an
it always
element
felt
of UConn in Columbus. There was people that liked UConn. A guy who
Really?
texted me yesterday.
A Yukon Pocket?
Yeah, he listens to the show. He's probably listening right now. He listens to the 6 a.m. hour. He was texting me yesterday about how he nailed the Final Four, which I thought was relatively remarkable.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, it's a pair of 1 seeds on the one side, but
Hey, I got
get both
3.
UConn and Illinois. Yeah, no, that's good too. My bracket as Happer was had 3 of the 4.
That's right.
Also, only had 2 because I had Iowa State. So that's right.
Oh, I may have had Iowa State too. I may have only got 2.
I can't remember where you jumped off on the Iowa State train.
It probably would have been in the regional final or in the Final Four. Anyway, but yeah, there's interesting that there's a pocket of Columbus Yukon fans. I never really heard that before. By the way, I saw the Boston College stuff because they hired Bill Murray's kid to take that job. What are they doing? Why are they?
I missed this.
Why are they hiring?
Why are they hiring Bill Murray's kid?
Yeah, why is Boston College hiring the 3rd best UConn assistant?
Probably because Boston College's attempts to be good at basketball post Al Skinner.
They're not doing a very good job.
Really, really bad.
They're not doing a very good job.
Boston College's an athletic department seems like it's in a rough spot.
Yeah.
Other than
their top assistant, Kamani Young, is like he's been a candidate. I mean, this is, I suppose, why they weren't able to hire him. But he's been a candidate for a variety of different jobs over the years, and everyone's wondering when he's going to take one. And then they just hired the other UConn assistant.
Well, Nebraska's top assistant's name was mentioned.
Yes, that's a talking point.
You mentioned the other day.
I mentioned that right off the top. I figured that would be a thing.
I didn't realize that he is a native of
Cedar Rapids.
Falls.
Yeah, Cedar Falls.
Cedar Falls. Yeah.
Wow,
we were all over the map.
There's too many Cedars and Falls and Rapids and
there's a lot in this area.
All those different things.
You forget about Bluffs. Nobody talks about Cedar Bluffs.
Nobody talks about. Is there a Cedar Bluffs?
It's here in Nebraska.
Oh, all right. Shout out to Cedar Bluffs. Maybe there's a pocket of UConn fans at Cedar Bluffs as well. We'll talk about Nate Lenzer a little bit later on in the show and evaluate that a little bit. But no, it used to be much like the Duke North Carolina thing. It was either you were a Yankees or a Red Sox fan, kind of. That's sort of how it always felt growing up. Less so now. We're out of the heyday. You could watch all the teams with ease now, and the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. The Red Sox haven't won a World Series in a few years now, and I feel like the only year they got their fan base was 2004 anyway, so it doesn't actually matter after that. They had the 2004 run. Everybody decided that they wanted to be a Red Sox fan, watched Fever Pitch a couple times, and then that was it for their life.
Fever Pitch.
I actually like that movie.
We've discussed this.
I know.
Just the entire idea.
I don't know what it is. I've just watched it. I've watched
it
it so many times.
Jimmy Fallon.
You really hate Jimmy Fallon.
He sucks.
I'm so indifferent about
He's
Jimmy
overrated.
Fallon.
I'm on Schaefer's side. I don't think he's that good.
Wait. No, I mean, nobody thinks he's good though. Like everyone hates him now. So I don't know how he could be overrated. He's overrated even from everyone hating him.
I don't know about everyone hating him. I've just been out on Jimmy Fallon since the moment I was aware of his existence and his inability to hold a punchline.
I just choose to remember him from SNL. You hate when guys break on SNL.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
I love when guys break on SNL.
He's very cringy.
I want you to be able to deliver the line without laughing at your own joke like a child.
See, I kind of like that.
Yeah, pass.
I think that's endearing.
It's endearing. How they can't even tell the joke. They can't finish the job.
I love when Gosling hosts SNL because he can't get through an episode. It's so funny.
It's different.
I don't know why. It's so hilarious to me.
It's a little bit different when it's an actor or
a non-comedian
performer or a guest host than when it's a literal comic.
Yeah.
Or whatever we call Jimmy Fallon. I don't know how he'd be a comic. He's rarely ever funny.
Yeah, his talk show is like.
I think he was a writer that worked his way onto the show that never really was particularly good at anything, and now he's a late night host.
Yeah, I thought he was funny on SNL, and the late night show I don't care about because I'm not watching late night TV because I'm not 60. And
if you want to watch late night TV, you can just get a YouTube clip or a social media clip, and you get whatever you need out of that.
Or you could watch Gutfeld.
Oh, okay.
Gutfeld's on. I talked about Gutfeld one time, and people got mad at me because they thought I was making fun of Gutfeld. I'm not. I just like to say Gutfeld a lot. It's always on.
Which seems like you're still making fun of Gutfeld.
No, I just like saying Gutfeld.
It's just a form of making fun of gut film.
All right, here we are. Anyway, on a Wednesday, count up your local media who is fans of baseball teams. I don't know what the common. It just feel if the Cubs are good, if the Royals are good, it's gonna feel like there's a lot of baseball
Royals
fans
fan
around
that I'm
here.
like just completely blanking on.
I'm sorry. I'm not talking about just the media anymore.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
talking about sort of more of
in
everybody. If they're good, then you're going to hear a lot about it. If the Cubs are good, then you're going to hear a lot about it. So it is a Wednesday, coming off of a night of baseball last night at the ballpark. We already got a take about baseball in the text line. Should I read it?
Yes.
Can I just read it to start? Here it is from the 515. Seems like most Nebraska games are like last night. In total control with a comfortable lead, then someone tries to give away a certain victory by walking the bases loaded with no outs. But they managed to win despite themselves. One difference last night, they didn't have a 7-run seventh to finish the game in dominant fashion against a 100-something RPI team to boot. That's been another common factor. Just seems like they're bound to get swept when they start playing real teams. Okay, so several things here. Number one is I disagree. I think Nebraska's good. Number two, Creighton's pretty good too. They just haven't won the requisite amount of games yet, and they're a little bit behind Nebraska. Nebraska's way more complete than they are right now. Creighton's getting healthy, and Nebraska's lineup is better, and in all those different things. They have some. I think they got enough arms. Like I think Nebraska's got enough arms to really do this thing. That's always the key, because the offense is going to be there, and it always has been there. They're good defensively this year. I think they got enough arms to do it. And there was definitely a little bit of playing with their food last night, walking guys. I think that's part of college baseball. You found probably the line of guys you could trust and guys you can't. But that's Tuesday night baseball. And they're undefeated in the midweek so far this season. I was the first time I saw them with my own eyes this year. I think they're really good.
So I think just with Nebraska baseball, they have the best amount of like frontline starting pitching they've had in a while.
Yeah.
So that
definitely
makes them deeper when you're throwing Blackowitz in this midweek game. And that was a guy who's made starts. I mean, I'm pretty sure he started against Auburn earlier this year. I mean, he started against good teams on the weekend, and they obviously made that switch. And so I think they're better there. I think where it's concerning is that like getting it to Olsen and Unger at the end is a little bit like, I don't know that they have a third, fourth guy that 100% is carved out, but you still have so much time to get there.
Yeah. Also,
like guys that were great for Nebraska down the stretch in May weren't particularly good at the end of March or in April last year too. Like the season is so long that you have to allow for these things to sort of play out. But the biggest piece of it when it comes to the pitching is that they have a lot of depth in terms of being able to throw, assuming they stay healthy, throw 4 or 5 starters at you to start with. And that's not a place where they've always been. Like sometimes they've just had one guy and they have to cobble everything else together.
Totally.
And this,
I think they're going to have enough.
They have multiple arms that can get you into a tournament setting.
Absolutely. I think they're going to have enough. Especially Unger, who's really impressive out of the back end of the bullpen, and how many outs can you get to him on a nightly basis, and what does the game flow sort of dictate? I think they're going to be all right. And so, they could keep. It is a big series this weekend for them if they keep winning in the Big Ten. I mean, they're going to have a good chance to get to where they want to go in the postseason. We could talk about them, that game in particular, the future of that game. I love when Creighton and Nebraska play each other in baseball because there's always discussion about maybe they should play each other on a weekend. And this is no exception. Maybe we'll discuss it again today.
I suspect we will.
Maybe we'll discuss it again today. So that's part of the conversation. Elsewhere, our guests this morning, Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald will join us at 8:30. Lauren Michelson, she was there last night at the Chuck Box, 9:15 for Lauren. That is our lineup today. We would love to hear from you all, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. You can tweet on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at @HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. You can email Connor, Mike, Joey, 1620thezone.com. on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers, where Justin says, just call Nebraska daddy, Connor. I don't think I'm going to do that.
I don't.
People,
do that.
I did get a couple, my mentions were pretty quiet as the game went along last night. So I don't know that anybody really thought much about the broadcast and how much they hated it. And then all of a sudden, after the game ended, they decided that they hated the broadcast.
Oh,
it was weird.
You made it so far.
I know.
Maybe they didn't want to disrupt your broadcast that they hated.
Maybe they thought, oh man,
they were being thoughtful.
This guy's gonna look at this and then he's gonna see all my tweets and then get a lot better. Then I won't be able to make fun of him anymore.
Is it possible that, like, if we tweet this now, he's less likely to see it, but if we do it after the broadcast,
it's possible.
He's probably gonna have a better chance of seeing things.
Spoiler alert, I would have seen it anyway.
Well, look, I understand that.
Yes.
But maybe that was the brain of the people who needed to let you know about how you were doing.
Yeah. There was one from Husker Country Doc who says, I did not listen to the Creighton commies last night. He instead decided to listen to the Husker radio network.
That's great. You have options. I watched the game on ESPN Plus.
Several options last night. One got deleted because it was especially mean. That was
Is that the one you quote tweeted that I couldn't see?
Yes. Yeah. I can't even remember what it said, but it was mean. And so that's the one I picked out of nowhere. You kind of figured it was going to go like this. I thought I thought we did a nice show last night.
I have no complaint.
Now the other games that these two teams play will be on actual linear television. I believe
Nebraska public media,
the public media. The one in Lincoln in 2 weeks is on the BTN. I believe the one in May like 14th or whatever.
Yeah,
it is,
May 12th.
Yeah, will be on the public media. Final game of the home season for Creighton. Let's take a phone call. Why not? It is 6:15 after all. Here's Creighton Andrew. Good morning, Andrew.
Connor, you don't have to take that crap.
Oh, yes, I do. But this is how it goes. What am I supposed to do?
You don't have to. You don't need to hear that from Nebraska fans.
Well,
hey, do you have any word on who's transferring out for Creighton or who's staying, and possible portal additions? And Schaefer, is Frager transferring?
Interesting call, Andrew.
I don't believe Frager is going anywhere. I mean,
the rule of thumb is like you're probably going to lose a guy that you don't want to lose. I do wonder who Nebraska's guy is, if that exists.
I think they've done a really good job of being as proactive as you can be.
Yeah.
Those conversations were really heating up in February. Like I said, I know that there was a number that they had reached with Sanford, which doesn't matter as it relates to the portal. The NBA process is what you worry about there. But I'm pretty sure that they had one for Frager as well. And as I've said every time, I mean, when it comes to Frager, his earnings potential from just pure NIL is so much higher at Nebraska than it would be anywhere if he left. I mean, now he might get a bigger immediate amount of money, but all of the stuff that comes with the jerseys and the First National Bank and
there's no doubt
local opportunities
I hope that
just so much higher.
I hope that there's a bunch of guys around the country who realize that. A lot of people like to give that up and then take a bigger, flat fee or whatever it is, flat sum, and then leave.
You're always going to have people that leave for the sake of there's more elsewhere, but there are a fair amount of guys who stay for less.
I know. Yeah.
And that never gets talked about enough.
You're right.
Because we don't have the information, and it's just not something that, like, you're probably never going to get Bryce Williams to have a full conversation about how much money he gave up to come to Nebraska, where that season didn't go how he wanted, but it absolutely mattered in the story of where Nebraska is today.
You also have to think about it in the context of what season that person was here.
Right.
Like when the NIL thing just started, guys on Creighton's roster were talking about like 15, 20, 30,000.
Yeah,
or
no,
something.
I mean, there's
nice.
There's a real innocence to what we thought about things in, like, say, 2022.
Yeah, it's a little different
than where we are now here in 2026.
As far as Creighton is concerned, I would stay tuned. I mean, the crown will not decide a lot of things, but it can boost profiles. It did for Nebraska. There was the guy from Georgetown last year, Malik Mack, who, they had a bunch of guys who walked away before the tournament, including Micah Peavy, and they were like, I'm done. And so Mack is the only guy left on the team. He goes out and drops like 40, and all of a sudden his value is like 60% more. I think Cale Jacobson is, a good example of a guy who really came on at the tail end of last year for Nebraska. So we'll see. Swartz isn't going, and for Creighton, there is an injury there. I don't know. Maybe there's some writing on the wall with that situation. I'm not sure.
Well, you have no idea what Huss has been designing behind the scenes.
100%.
That's a guy that knows the portal and is working. I'm sure channels.
I'm sure Creighton and everybody else, who's still playing right now, which is, I guess, just the teams in the Crown, have a good idea of like what they want to do. But then these games are going to go on TV, and then, guys are going to play really well and guys are going to play really horribly. And then all of a sudden values change. And
it's a big opportunity for the market in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It's a really, really weird thing. It's
super weird.
It's a really, really weird thing.
Weirder when you're at it.
Okay.
Which starts on Thursday.
So my new goal is, I want to get a bunch of Crown like merchandise. Like
great goal. I had this goal last year. I wasn't at it, but it sounds like they didn't sell much.
I believe it's attainable.
So the Creighton got sent a box. Rob got sent the box from the Crown. There was like a bunch of hats in there, and I saw a couple people who work for Creighton wearing them around yesterday. I'm like, what the hell? How did I not get one of these awesome hats? I just want to take a picture of myself wearing nothing but head to toe Crown gear.
What an amazing transformation!
This is all I want to do. I know
to where we are now.
That's all I want to do.
It's just unbelievable.
If anything, for the bit. I mean, actually, that's exclusively why.
That's certainly part of it. I wanted a Crown hat last year simply to play into the fact that there were so many people who hated this thing.
Yeah.
And then begrudgingly came around to sort of enjoying it.
Right.
Now the shoe is on the other foot and I'm watching the same thing play out.
For the record, I didn't hate that. I just did a bit of ignoring it. Yeah.
But there were many people who were like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about this.
Yeah.
We don't need to spend any time on it.
That's why I don't understand. Like, there was at least two Big East teams who were just like, no, I'm going to take my ball and go
I
home.
thought that was moronic.
I'm not sure what you're doing.
Georgetown was one of them. They played in it last year.
Yeah.
And it actually sort of helped for Georgetown last year. They had guys that sort of started to define their own role.
Definitely helped Malik Mack.
So, yeah.
That's for sure.
I mean, but whatever you want to do.
Yep. So I'm off to
Brownville.
Sin City tonight, and we will talk to you in the morning, very, 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 very early tomorrow. Tomorrow's
you're
a busy
not leaving
show.
Us. You're coming. You're going to be on the show from Vegas tomorrow.
That's right. It'll be 4:00 in the morning.
Then Connor will be taking a nap after the show.
Maybe. I don't know.
You should, because it's
7:00 is a good time to hit the tables.
I mean, you're going to get some cheaper open tables.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's true.
That's what I'm talking about. So
little mid-afternoon, late afternoon nap before you go to the game.
See if my friends at the Circuit Casino get a visit from me at about 7:15 tomorrow morning. We'll find out. All right, off and running on a Wednesday. Glad you're with us here on 1620 The Zone. Who said college sports is dead? Somebody somewhere said that.
It's like,
Definitely not me.
Good. Well, because you'd be wrong. CBS and TNT Sports posting record viewership through the Elite Eight. It is the most watched NCAA tournament since 1993, averaging 10.3 million viewers through the Elite Eight across TBS, CBS, TNT, True TV, up 9%. The Duke UConn game peaked with 18.9 million viewers. Wow. They all saw that ball swish and snap the nylon. Sweet 16 early primetime window on Friday, which was Duke St. John's and then Michigan, Alabama, averaged 14.2 million viewers, up 38%, and the most watched in that window since 1992. Every game window in the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight delivered year-over-year viewership increases. There you go. Nebraska fans have done it again.
they're part of it.
Nebraska gets involved in the Sweet 16. People watch. That was I haven't seen anybody do a list of like best games of the tournament yet, but that's got to be up there. The Vanderbilt game.
The lists that I've been like going through have been like teams that are most sad that they didn't advance, or like it was like a list of, it broke out from 68 on down of like where they would slot in.
Oh, their pain levels.
Yeah, the pain level basically.
Interesting.
And
That's a fun one.
Nebraska was in the like 12, I think. And so then they still have the 4
like
teams.
12th out of 68.
Yeah, they still have the 4 teams that haven't lost yet, and so where those will slot in remains to be seen.
That's a fun game. Who you were just
ESPN
doing this?
did this.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was I should have thrown it on the sheet, but
that's a good article. A March Madness pain index.
It was okay, you found it.
I have found it.
Obviously, Duke is at the highest spot right now.
Duke. Yeah, that's bad.
I mean, there's no way they couldn't be.
God, I'm starting to think after we're 2 days removed from it now, 3 days removed from it now, that my lasting memory is going to be the announcer talking about how it should have been a technical that they read out on the floor. So funny.
So the Duke radio call got removed from Twitter due to the copyright concerns.
Oh yeah, that makes
so
sense.
I'm sure Duke had something to do with that.
No, probably not.
I doubt it.
CBS and the NCAA are really
Knowing people involved in that operation, they are very protective of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you're there covering those games, you're admonished of taking any live video or doing anything at all that potentially takes away from the broadcast rights.
Even the teams,
the NCAA,
they were the team.
Well, yeah, Nebraska couldn't do their cinematic recap on anything.
They were limited. I believe you're limited to like a minute video, and you could only do it so often. There's only so much content that you could put out there, and we're talking about stuff that doesn't get seen on television. It's not just television angles. It's similar deal with the radio call. Like that's not getting seen on TV, but they give the rights over to Westwood One and the varsity. By the way, did people not figure out the varsity app thing? I saw a lot of people struggling with how to get radio calls.
I had to educate certain people how to use the app because I used it the last few years for when Creighton was in the tournament.
Westwood One, I believe, created an app recently as well, so that may have worked. But I saw that there were some people struggling with like, what? I can't get these radio calls, so I'll have to listen on the radio. I'm like, no, you don't. I mean, it's on the app. You just have to find it somewhere. But anyway, so Duke number 1, Florida losing to Iowa number 2, Texas losing late to Purdue number 3. But I don't know, like Texas was an 11 seed losing in the Sweet 16.
There's stuff in here where you don't have to like necessarily.
Santa Clara is bad. Because Santa Clara
should be 2 in my mind.
Santa Clara got beat on a buzzer beating play in regulation that probably shouldn't have counted.
Yeah, Herb Sendick called that timeout.
Yeah,
I mean he did. Whether they acknowledged it or not,
and then
they did.
It was right before the inbounds happened. They just didn't really see it. And the officials, they're basically multitasking, so they're paying attention to where the basketball's at, so they can't really look at
his comment, and it's true, is like in that situation, you see officials look at coaches like that all the time. And he's like, the guy ran away. So,
and I think with Kentucky going very fast at that moment, there's no headbutt. But with Kentucky going very fast, they were just so locked in on
Yeah.
where the basketball.
Well, the guy made an incredible shot.
Wasn't
That's the
there
only
a-
reason we're talking about
There was like a timing thing too. I felt like the clock wasn't. you
Yeah,
know,
it didn't start right away. That's another
Ugh.
thing I heard.
That is not a good way to go. You could make the argument that that's the worst way to go.
Yeah, I would have that higher than where they do.
North
I would have
Carolina-
North Carolina maybe a little lower for similar reasons.
They did go to overtime, but it was a first round game. Losing in the first round in overtime is a really low
It's
key.
because they blew a
rough.
double-digit lead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why.
But losing specifically in the first round, especially as a higher seed, 6 versus 11 in North Carolina, that's one of the worst ways to go right
Yeah.
there. You're not.
Part of
able
it
to win
is
a
I
game.
think their season had sort of already hit a tailspin, and so it's kind of like but the double-digit lead and overtime adds to it.
Hubert and the boys were spiraling a little bit. Vanderbilt is 6, so Nebraska is responsible for creating the 6th most painful exit of the NCAA tournament. Which, when you watch the
There was
replay,
I'll be
I mean,
honest.
they controlled that. The other thing is they controlled the game. No, I'm sorry, I had that in reverse. So Nebraska really controlled the game.
Yeah,
for the
they
most part.
made their comeback.
Sorry,
and
I was
then
thinking of a
they had a
different game.
5-point lead with 3.5 to go.
Yeah.
And Nebraska erased that. No, I like when I think of pain, I hear Tyler Tanner's voice when asked if he thought that shot was going to be good.
Oh.
And just that little brief pause where you can like he's working through the throat to be able to say it out loud.
Mm.
Man, incredible.
That close to one of the best shots in tournament history. Kansas, who lost late to St. John's on the buzzer beater, but felt like that was sort of going to happen. Wisconsin, who lost to High Point. That's a tough way to go, but at least they were on the wrong. Like the problem is for Wisconsin in that situation, they are on the wrong side of an incredible story.
Sure.
An incredible, NCAA tournament game. Somebody has to lose those, unfortunately. And then Ohio State, Ohio State lost to TCU early. First game of the tournament, actually. St. John's, who lost to Duke. Virginia lost to Tennessee. High Point, Siena, and then Nebraska. So there you go. Nebraska's exit less painful than that of Siena, who had absolutely
pretty
no
painful.
expectation to win that basketball game.
And yet-
but then we're going to win it
Right.
for a minute.
And then didn't.
And then didn't. Yeah. Let's see. Do they mention... let's see. The game was in flux for its entirety with neither team leading by more than 10 points. Nebraska led for 81% of the contest, however, and was favored, according to ESPN Analytics. Nice. Until under 5 minutes remain. Contrary to popular belief, one of the worst stretches of the game to have a scoreless drought, that last 5+ minutes is the final 6 minutes of the game, famously. Good joke. That's what resulted in the Cornhuskers chucking threes desperately, trying to catch up. It might be fitting those desperation heaves were their undoing. After desperation heave clanging off the rim is what sent them past Vanderbilt and into the second weekend to begin with.
Yeah, there's
It kind of
there's
is.
an element of this where it felt like they didn't watch any of the game.
Yeah, kind of weird. Yeah.
So
Maybe the last minute.
write-up, not particularly great.
Now, no mention of the fact that it was to Iowa,
Or that,
which I still feel like is probably, if not the most painful part, like
Right.
the second most painful part.
or no mention of like
No mention of the four guys on the
first
court.
half. Like, they scored 46 points in the first half and led by 3
Yeah.
for a team that had like a top 10 defense in a lot of metrics.
Yeah.
So it's like
So you'd put them up. You think that their exit was tough? It was harder than it's betrayed or it's portrayed on this
I
list.
think they're probably in the range where you could quibble about a couple of these. I mean, I think most of the top 10 is fair. Like I look at somebody like St. John's, and I think that's probably a little higher to me than an Ohio State because you're in the Sweet 16
It's funny
with
though.
a 10-point lead.
Grand scheme of things, like when you pull out and you look at it, you're like, yeah, well, they were in the Sweet 16.
Right.
And it's like, how much pain can you really endure for a team who's never won an NCAA tournament game and you're in the Sweet 16? I don't think it was like, I don't really necessarily, as we look back on it, love the whole, oh, this is just gravy. Like this is icing on the cake because you only get so many chances to be in the position
that's
that
why I
you're
think
in.
it's pain.
Like that's why it hurts. But at the same time, you're like, all right, well, we feel good about what we've accomplished this season, and we actually have a chance to go another step further against a team that we have beat And then there's probably additional pain coming from the Illinois of it all. That was you were looking down the barrel of
that was the part that, after that happened on Thursday night, that was the part I couldn't shake, where it's like you had a 10-point lead multiple different times here. You lose to Iowa, and awaiting you wasn't home team Houston. It was Illinois. It was still probably Illinois probably wins that game.
They're
but
favored
Nebraska's
by a
chances
few.
of beating Illinois are better than Nebraska's chances of beating Houston.
I think so too.
In my mind.
I think so
Now,
too.
maybe Nebraska locks up Houston the way that Illinois did. I doubt it.
Yeah, everybody has different nights. It's the tournament.
You never know.
It's Nebraska had already beaten Illinois. By the way, Debo writes in, I have an opinion, too many cinematic recaps. I like all the cinematic recaps. It does feel like there are a lot of them, though. We are maybe swimming in a pool of cinematic recaps these days.
Well, I mean, they know it's strong social engagement and
I'm
endears
not
people
mad.
to the team.
I'm not mad that they exist because I can choose to not watch them, but there are a lot of them.
That's no, I don't dispute that. I was somewhat, when they started doing them with baseball, was somewhat like, oh, I guess we're going to do this for every series now.
I think they sponsored them. It looked like,
well,
that's probably part of it.
It's a smart thing to sponsor.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
Like, you're gonna get strong.
But once you get the sponsor on there, it's like, okay, well now we have to do them.
Yeah. No, that's the
even though
thing.
we just won a 12-2 game against North Dakota State on a Tuesday. Here comes your cinematic recap.
We're slowing that video down on it's a 7-run 7th inning. That guy hit a single to score 2. They're now up 12-2.
All the guys gather in the dugout.
Yep.
They have a nice hype speech as they go into the fourth. We better finish this thing off right now. The run rule. We need to do this to save our pitching for the weekend.
You know what would have been amazing content? You were talking about earlier how there was all the handshakes from Calandria, but you do a cinematic recap of just the handshake.
Good one.
So you get the slow-mo video and you can really break it down.
That's a good idea.
What it looks like.
I like that.
Free idea out there for people.
All right, let's take a break. We'll take a phone call and get some of your thoughts and plenty more coming up on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, 6:47 on a Wednesday. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. Let's take a phone call on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Old man Doug's here this morning. Hi, Doug. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, let's talk about the Crown.
That's what I'm talking about, Doug. I'm ready.
When are you leaving?
Today, tonight, this evening.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
You guys must be on a budget.
What do you mean? What is that supposed to mean?
Well, the Crown starts tonight. It's the most important tournament. You know, Creighton's still playing in April. I don't know about other.
Creighton doesn't play till tomorrow.
I understand that, but they're still playing in April. That's good, isn't it?
I don't need to go to the other Crown games, that's for sure. The other
So
Crown,
in theory, you would be able to.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be there.
Yeah,
tonight.
I'll be there at like probably 6:30 or 7, so I could catch them. I could catch them tonight, but I'm not going to.
If Creighton does well in the Crown and wins it, and is that going to stir up anything as far as where was that team all year?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't really. I would try not to look at it that way. I don't know. This season, I think the book's been sort of written. If they're able to get some, I just hope that they get some like happiness out of this. It's been a long slog for them this year. You know, I just sort of hope they're able to sort of remember this experience positively.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to rewrite sort of the ending to the season.
Yeah.
When is John Walker coming on this week?
We don't have plans to. He goes on Matt's show usually.
He's a midday guy.
Yeah.
Okay. He likes to sleep in. I'm just wondering if there's any transfer port. Isn't today the opening of the transfer portal?
Nah, the portal doesn't open
7th?
officially until the day after the national championship game, which is next Tuesday. But guys are going to be declaring their intentions for until then.
So how do you handle if you're Colorado, that kid from Omaha, is he not going to play in the Crown?
Yeah, I mean, I think guys that have already declared that they're going to go into the portal have decided that they're not going to play in the Crown. I think that's going to happen for some of those rosters. It happened last year where guys just opted out of playing, because they're pursuing their next opportunity.
Okay. Half wins game time tomorrow.
9:30 Central Time. It's late, Doug.
FS1.
It's late, Doug.
Yeah, FS1.
I'll have to take a nap.
Yeah, you will. But luckily, you don't have to find it on Peacock or anything like that.
I still have Peacock. They lured me in, and I never went through the brain damage of canceling. So
Good.
That's how they get you.
it is. I argue with the cord cutters all the time. By the time you end up with all the streaming services, you're probably not that much ahead.
Yeah, it's like cable, which is something I've been saying for years now.
Do you have Cox app?
I used to, but then I changed to YouTube TV. But then you have to have so many other subscriptions that it basically just ends up being the same price after all.
I will say Cox's Contour app is the what. It's dope, I guess. Can I say that? As an old
Dope.
It's dope, Doug. Much like the college basketball Crown.
There we go. I just want to make sure the Crown gets its due respect on this station.
Oh, it's going to.
Hey, who's sponsoring the Crown coverage this year?
It's brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally.
You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Doug.
You guys make me laugh.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
later.
See ya.
I think we
Enjoy
maybe
the
need
crowd.
to change from Old Man Doug to just Dope Doug.
Dope Doug.
I like Dope.
I like it.
Dope Doug. So I was looking. I don't know that it is a requirement by the Crown to publicize travel rosters.
Submit your roster.
You have to submit a travel roster.
Yep.
I haven't seen Colorado's. I don't know if that has to mean that the guy Bangot Doc is not playing.
Right.
I mean, seriously, I could
That's
see
fair.
I could see literally anything.
It would be odd, I think.
I haven't seen Colorado put out their travel roster. That's what I was furiously looking for while Doug was saying dope.
Well, I think they have several guys who are likely to transfer off of that roster. So,
Yeah.
as to what that means for who's available to play and everything else, I do not know. You should. Do you have all the crown teams handy? We should probably run through what the field.
Oh, you want to do a crown bracket pick?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So first game today is Colorado, Oklahoma, Big 12 North.
I'll take Oklahoma.
Sure. The second game is Baylor, Minnesota.
I'll take Minnesota.
I think I will too. Although I did see Baylor play earlier this year. That team is okay.
Yeah, Baylor's not bad.
I'll take Minnesota. They're Big Ten teams in the crown, Big Ten teams in bowl games, stuff like that. They always, just find a way. Stanford and West Virginia.
Stanford.
Okay. I have absolutely no clue whatsoever. Let's go West Virginia.
Okay, all right.
And then Rutgers and Creighton. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I don't know how really Creighton loses to Rutgers.
The only way I can see it is if Rutgers just dominates inside the paint.
Yeah.
They're not a particularly good shooting team. They foul a lot.
All right. So we got about a minute or so here. Let's pick through this. You got Oklahoma and Minnesota. Give me Porter Moser.
Okay.
Who kept his job. Stanford and Creighton.
They get ends here, Stanford.
The semifinals.
Yeah.
But at least they get one more game called by Gus Johnson. Who knows?
At least they get that. Also, you and John Bishop.
Who knows what Gus will say about the Stanford Creighton game?
Wait, he's actually calling the games?
Yeah, he's doing the semifinal and the final.
Wow.
Yep. Remember last year when he did the Andrew Morgan corn and soybeans thing? That was the best part of the whole crowd last year.
I don't remember that at all.
He was like, Andrew Morgan, he's on a farm with corn and soybeans. It was the best part of the whole thing.
That's not true.
Literally the only thing I remember.
Well, that's on you.
Gail Jacobson did all those different things. All I remember is Gus talking about Andrew Morgan's farm. That's all. That's literally it. So I don't know what he's going to say about Isaac Trout and his farm or something like that.
Was he on a farm?
I don't know.
I don't think Isaac Trout was a farm.
He was a farm guy, but he's in Great Island. Sorry, it was a little stereotypical. I'm sorry to all of our friends in Central Nebraska this morning. All right, we'll take a break. There's your full crown preview. We'll be back 7:00 hour after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, 7 o'clock. Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you here on this Wednesday. A few things for you, including McMaster's matchup for your shot at $250 without basically doing anything except for entering your name into this contest. We're going to randomly select 20 people and match you with a golfer in a big golf tournament coming up very soon. And if that golfer that you're connected to wins, then you score the prize, which is $250. Register right now, 1620thezone.com. You'll have to do so before Sunday because then we will start matching people up with their golfers. Also, the outdoor upgrade going on right now as well. Contest, $10,000 backyard makeover courtesy of Robert's Nursery Landscape and Lawn. Check that out, 1620thezone.com.
Do you have an early guess for the Masters? Do you have anything percolating in your brain?
I haven't even thought about this yet, but Colin Morikawa.
Okay. All right.
What do you think?
As far as your guess or just
My guess.
It's a good guess. I mean, he's a good player. I don't know if he's been particularly on lately.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That was why I just threw him out there.
Yeah, no.
He was the first person to get in my head for some reason.
That's fair. That's fair.
You like it?
I like it.
All right.
I like
You're a big golf pool guy.
I definitely do the Masters auction thing. I was looking through the who's in the actual field this year and all of that.
Is Colin Morikawa's in it, right?
Yeah, he's
all right, good.
Yeah, he's in it.
He didn't get hurt or something like that. He didn't
Well,
flip
now you're
over his
making
car.
He just played the other week, so I'm pretty sure he's fine.
Okay.
But
all right.
I will and this is just a guy that I end up rooting for, but he won a tournament a couple weeks ago. He's playing better. Give me Cam Young.
Cam Young.
Fan of Cam Young.
I had heard of him for the first time when he sort of burst onto the scene at a major.
The British.
Yeah, it was the British.
Where he nearly
Yes.
hit the hole in 4.
Oh yeah, that's
you know,
right.
that would have like flipped that entire insane finish with him, Cam Smith, and Rory McIlroy.
Golf.
Yeah, that was a fun, like, down the stretch. Of course, Rory did the thing where he just didn't win when he had every opportunity
Or
to win.
maybe the door is open for Rory.
A repeat for Rory.
Yes, a Rory Pete.
A Rory Pete.
Yeah, maybe he can
Hear him roar.
finally do it. And now that he has the monkey off of his back, he'll just start winning the Masters all the time now.
You know, he did withdraw from the TPC. But I think he's
We're fine.
He withdrew from the Valero Texas Open too. Got a back injury.
He's okay.
He's probably going to play. In the
Hopefully you
Masters.
guys
He's
get
not
matched
pushing
up
it.
with Colin Morikawa. Debo's going with Xander Schauffele. He would have been the next guy.
Not a
picked.
bad pick.
Yeah.
Not a bad pick.
All right, let's go to the baseball last night. The World Baseball Classic of Nebraska. First of all, what do we think about this?
I love that.
Now, unfortunately, I don't think that Nebraska fans are probably going to get on board with this because this idea was first proffered by Mark Kingston, the new Creighton baseball head coach. But give him a chance. I think it's a great thought because that's sort of the idea, right? These two teams have big weekend series this weekend, right? Nebraska plays USC this weekend at home, huge. They've already played 9 games of the conference, which is sort of unbelievable. We were marveling at it last night on the broadcast. Creighton's going into conference play this weekend. They're traveling. They're, probably leaving for the airport right now and going to go play UConn. Series starts tomorrow. And so they have a huge series this weekend. Both of them have bigger fish to fry, right? But the World Baseball Classic, of course, those players playing in that game have bigger fish to fry. However, there's a passion, there's an energy, there's a different twinge to the game. The games, without fail, always end up completely bat bleep insane.
I was going to say bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah. They've never played a normal game together.
Even when you think you're cruising to a pretty simple 6-0 start,
I know.
You put your son down,
I'm like, are we
doing a
thinking
bath.
run rule tonight? What's going on?
I'm solo parenting last night. I'm trying to get Hudson down, keeping an eye on what's happening with the score. And then my text messages just blow up about Nebraska.
Oh my God.
And by the time I can check to see fully, it's 6-5. And it's just like, oh, of course this is how it goes.
So since the start of the 2016 season, this is a Rob stat from last night. Creighton and Nebraska had played in 8 games decided by exactly 1 run.
Yeah.
And Creighton had won all 8 of them
Yeah.
prior to last night.
I feel like I've watched that movie many times.
I know. There's been a lot of 2-run games as well, and 3-run. Like it's just they're always like that.
I've seen the version where Nebraska has the tying run on third and can't get them in. I've seen the version where Nebraska leads 2-0 going into the 8th and loses 3-2. You know, like there's so many different ways that has played out.
By the way, didn't get a chance to play these stats, but if Creighton would have finished the comeback and won last night, in the 9th there, it would have gone in as another entry into largest comeback in ballpark history.
Oh wow.
6 runs. All
For
right.
the entirety of the ballpark.
The entirety of the ballpark. Yep. Nobody has come back from a more than 6-run deficit in the history of Charles Schwab Field, Omaha.
Now I'm gonna file this away, and every future Big Ten tournament or College World Series game, I'm just gonna know that when it's like a 5 or 6 run game.
There has never in that ballpark, there has never been a 6-run comeback in a College World Series game. There's 4 of them that have been 6-run comebacks, and 2 are owned by Nebraska. Actually, 1 is owned by Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament, and 3 are owned by Creighton. So Creighton, the first one was in the first year of the park in 2011. Bradley got up 6-0 on Creighton, and then Creighton won 16-6. So that was a comeback. Nebraska beat Ohio State in 2014 in the Big Ten tournament, down 6-0.
That was a big one.
7-6. Creighton beat Illinois State in 2019. They were down 6-0 and won 8-7. And Creighton came back against St. John's 3 years ago. They were down 7-1 and won 8-7. And so it would have been, I was like, wow, what a stat, first of all.
Yeah.
And that's classic Rob Anderson. But these games are always crazy. And last night was really no exception.
Yeah, it was kind of funny early on in that game, like the people that I know that are watching it, and kind of hard to miss. I'm curious what your thoughts are now that you're off of the actual broadcast of it. The strike zone from the umpire was wide,
like all night,
and it didn't favor any one team. It didn't like anything like that. It was just like if you had it, near the corner of the plate, you were getting a strike.
Some of that is just college baseball, but it definitely was.
It felt wider than usual
until the 9th, and then it tightened up a little bit for Unger, which I mean
I think it was. It felt like it was fairly consistently wide. The thing that
there was 2 or 3 pitches where I thought, ooh, that was a strike earlier in the game
on the inner part of the plate, though, right? Like there was to the lefty,
to lefties.
So
yes.
I felt like it was more opposite-handed wide. So like if the lefty's up, it was going to be wide to the right. The righty was up, and it was mostly with righties. You noticed it. I forget which. I think it was Olsen for Nebraska was not painting the corner. He was painting the corner of the ump strike zone pretty well in that 7th inning.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, that's one way to avoid giving up loud contact because you never have to pitch inside to the plate.
Pitch off the plate, yeah.
And you're getting that as a strike, you're going to keep them off balance. And, I mean, unless you're just hunting specifically for that angle, I thought Olsen did a pretty nice job of taking advantage of what the ump was giving him in the 7th inning.
Yep. So it was another one of those games last night at Charles Schwab Field. Nebraska goes to 23-6, which is their best, one of their best marks in 29 games in a long time. And they have now started 8-0 in the midweek, which is something that has not been kind to them.
I mean, we were joking about midweek. They gave up the home run on the second batter of the midweek.
They have 3 really solid weekend starters. 4 when you throw in Blackowitz, who pitched last night. I imagine that he goes into a role on like you can't just sit that guy and only have him pitch on Tuesdays. So like he'll do something on the weekends.
They just haven't needed
sort of a long thing. Yeah. And so Katsky goes back in the weekend. Carey the production is off the charts. 43 runs driven in is absolutely nuts for 29 games. And he's going to continue to do that because guys in front of him get on base. I mean,
you're talking about Mac Moyer.
The Mac Moyer thing has been an absolute revelation for them. I mean, it changes their lineup completely.
Talk about a guy who just seized opportunity, like wasn't expected to be a starter, got the opportunity early in the season, just started getting on base, never stopped getting on base, and is a huge part of just you get up there and you get him in front of Worthley and you get him in front of Sanderson, and then Carey's hitting the way that he is, and then you have Jet Buck. I mean, part of it, you have Overbeek hitting 8th in that lineup, and he's hitting 250, 260 this year, but he's a dangerous enough bat hitting 8th down there. Rhett Stokes is hitting well. I mean, they have guys off the bench performing. It just feels like they're very deep.
They hit it for a little bit of power. They hit it for really good average, which is impressive. It's not just home run dependent. You think it might be playing in the park that they play in with the wind doing what it does in this time of the year, and they don't. I mean, they're good on the base paths. I think they're really solid defensively.
They can win in different ways.
An error bit them last night, but I think they're really solid defensively. And like we said, they're good on the mound. So they're top 50 in the country and, the main statistics, batting average, earn run average, and defensive, fielding percentage. And I don't know, it's just a really solid baseball team. I think the conversation probably becomes like, can you include them in that they're not on the level of UCLA. We talked about it with Bruns on Monday.
But the USC Oregon.
Can you put them in the USC Oregon tier?
Because then you're talking about hosting a region.
Exactly. And I do think certainly when they play those two in series, which they will over the next couple of weeks, USC and Oregon, they're going to have chances to win those games. I think they stand right up in line against them. I think they probably look a lot like those teams.
Probably. Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing from the last couple of years, aside from the frontline pitching that Nebraska seems to really have, is that they got the mentality right. They got the locker room right for the first time in a few years.
Yeah.
I think Will likes his team.
I had Hanley on a podcast yesterday, and we were Nick Hanley, who does radio calls with Nebraska baseball. For those that
Nick Hanley.
And it sort of came up like this team is emblematic of Bolt in the way that they've just got a bunch of grinders.
100%.
And that's obviously what Will Bolt was. Guys who maximize what they have. Guys like Mac Moyer, where it's not like he's blessed with these incredible physical traits, but he just sort of does everything pretty well. He's not going to provide a ton of power for you, but if he gets on base, he's a threat to get to second. If he's, on base, then he becomes a distraction while you're pitching to the next guys. He's a good defender. He took a wild route because of the wind on that last out of the game, but he still secured it.
That would have been
on
one hand, perfect, right? If the fly ball, we already had a ball lost in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
We it just a little bit of everything. And I was thinking, oh man, the wind is just going to kick this. And Moyer made a nice play to finally bring it in.
Well, and it's funny because the ball gets hit and, you guys have sort of some resignation in your voice that this is the last out of the game because it's a relatively routine fly ball to medium deep,
Yeah, it kind of ends in a little bit of a thud, right?
And it's like, oh, okay.
Oh.
We don't know if it's left or the center fielder. Nope. It's going to be Moyer back in center.
There was some adventures. Some adventures out there last night. And so
wind was whipping.
Really good start for Nebraska baseball. And we'll see what comes of this weekend. They do play USC, right? This weekend?
Is it this weekend?
I thought it was Penn State.
Penn State this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's next weekend that they.
My bad.
USC.
Penn State this weekend. So Nebraska is going to have a chance to. I mean, they're going to play 12 conference games by the end of this weekend, which is sort of absurd. Yeah, Penn State, Oregon on the road,
Oregon, and then USC,
at home. I apologize, messed that up. There's another game with Creighton. Before that, 2 weeks from yesterday. We'll have that for you when that happens on either 1620 The Zone or Yacht Rock 1180. I think probably 1620 The Zone would be my guess. As far as Creighton is concerned, I think they're going to be fine. They're still sort of plugging holes in their lineup a little bit. It's at this point, it's probably not quite as strong of a team as it was last year, just with the real frontline guys. At the same time, they didn't have clear answers as to what those guys, a Friday night starter which they do have right now, a closer, which they also have right now. Like, they didn't really know what those guys were going to become. Just a little bit more depth. They're getting some freshmen to come along, some young guys to come along, some transfers who are getting acclimated to come along. Like, I think they're going to be okay in the Big East. Now, this weekend starts off tough for them.
With UConn
going to UConn. They're kind of a machine where they never look impressive, and they get their rosters filled with a bunch of like D3 transfers, and they compete every single year. And that's
You're
what
talking
they
about
do.
a team that grinds.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single year. And so the schedule, as I've mentioned this plenty on the broadcast this year, if anybody's watched or listened, like, the schedule flips over for Creighton, where all three of the other Big East tournament teams last year, they got at home. And so they go on the road to all three of them this year. That's Xavier, St. John's, and UConn. And so that's a challenge of the schedule. And then, playing here against the teams who didn't make that field, who still have an opportunity to be solid. Villanova is always okay with their pitching. Georgetown, I think, is a tick better this year. But I think it should be. We all thought going into the Big East tournament last year for Creighton that those were the right four, not only for how they played that year, but just from a program standpoint, like what they put into it and how they sort of approached. And I still feel the same way. It doesn't play out that way. We'll see. You never know, because you could certainly get going to Seton Hall for a weekend series, or get going to you probably can't get going to Butler for a weekend.
If you get got by Butler, you're probably not going to the tournament.
Do not get got by Butler at really any point.
I don't think you should be got by Butler. As someone who hadn't watched Creighton this year, I was surprised how many of those guys I remembered from last year's series with Nebraska, and how many of them seem to be hitting reasonably well again this year. I feel like they have a pretty good lineup.
That's good. Honest. Yeah, it's a good hitting team.
It's whether the pitching can provide whatever else you need, but they should score runs in conference.
I believe so too. Especially those ballparks will start to tighten up as well. Everyone besides the Chuck box. But okay, so we're going to do the topic that we just for a few minutes here. How much interest is there in a weekend series between these two? I'll tell you, like, I think there is some mutual interest in doing that. But between the two sides, the only question is you have to create room.
Yeah.
On your schedule, and
you want it in April
to go through your
or
conferences
in May. You don't want it in March. Right. That's the big thing.
You're limited in what you can do and where you can put it. The Big East, they did it this year with UConn. Like, UConn and Xavier started a week early, and so they'll have a bye week that gets mixed in there because there's sort of not enough teams to go through. And so Creighton could probably create a weekend. They'd have to, get the clearance from their league. I wonder if Nebraska would be able to do something similar where they say, like, hey, we want to make room for this and we want to do it in late April. And so what we're going to
find that
we're going to go play at USC in like mid-March, and for a weekend conference series or something like that. You win some, you lose some with that. But if the end result is a 3-game series where I don't know where that would be, but you alternate each year or whatever it might be, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Now that would officially make it World Baseball Classic Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean,
getting
some
it energy, some intensity,
multiple games in a row, getting it Friday through Sunday.
Yeah.
A Friday night game between those teams would be a ton of fun. It reminds me a little bit, this is going back a ways, I don't know what year exactly, but those teams would meet in regional play.
That's right.
Every so often. And those games had juice.
Yeah.
I mean,
05,
real juice.
05 obviously was Nebraska's best team. It was probably one of Creighton's best too.
Yeah.
and they, I think if I remember right, they pushed them a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they met in the regional final. They met on the way there too. They played twice, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
And yeah, those games definitely had juice to them.
No doubt. Maybe they end up in a regional this year. I mean, the way it's trending, Nebraska.
That would be fascinating.
Nebraska could potentially host. That's a real life possibility.
Yeah.
Creighton's gonna probably have to win the Big East or really, really perform well in conference play in order to try and get an at large. I don't know if they'd make I don't know if they'd make them a 3 in Lincoln. That would be tricky. But if they're a 4, if they're a regional 4, then that could be another. I mean, imagine that.
Hey, you get to host your first regional.
That's got to be.
You get your in-state rival as the 4.
That's got to be nightmare fuel, right? Like that. That sounds like a horrible, horrible thing.
I can't imagine that Nebraska baseball people would want.
No.
I think they'd much prefer getting, someone from the SoCon or whatever to be the 4 seed. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, their history is they've lost to 4 seeds before. So, don't.
As regional hosts.
Whoever you get, you got to beat. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So.
But that would not be the one you would want. I don't think.
I don't think you want Creighton as a 4.
You wouldn't like to.
You'd want UNO as a 4. I don't
rather
think you
get
want
NJIT or something. And my dear
Butler.
friend,
You
Lenny.
want Butler as a 4.
If Butler makes the NCAA tournament, I will do an Austin Jacobson and walk from.
Oh no,
Indianapolis to Omaha.
Oh no,
okay.
That might cover the same distance. That might cover the same.
Did you
distance.
see Austin's thing?
Oh yeah.
And then he faked as if he was going.
That was pretty great.
God, that guy's hilarious. He was doing TikToks
Quite
at the baseball
something.
game
He was
last
at the
night.
baseball game. Yeah.
Up and down videos, and we were chiding him for doing up and down videos.
Never heard it called.
Turn your
that.
camera sideways.
Up and down video.
All right. Any thoughts on baseball? We'll take them 402-951-1620. Schaefer's got some stock up, stock down.
Yeah, a little wrapping up spring football.
Let's do it.
Where are we at with things?
We will return with a little football talk on 1620 The Zone. Did you know that we're going to the moon day?
No.
Not 1620 the moon, NASA the moon, Artemis 2, the spaceship, is moving steadily toward liftoff no earlier than 5:24 this evening.
Now, if someone from 1620 the zone would be traveling to the moon, who would that be? And
Nick. Send Nick to the moon.
That actually makes sense.
Maybe Nick or Josh, right?
What about McMaster?
Why would Josh be a candidate? To
Well,
go to
Josh
the moon?
is very into space. He's into like science fiction. He's into all of these things. So I think there's like a general interest.
Josh
level
Peterson
there.
is into space.
Yeah,
in science fiction.
he loves all of these books by the
People forget
Project Hail Mary guy.
People
Andy
forget
Weir.
he reads.
Yeah, he does. He does love books. He does love books. Nick is like a space nerd guy. You know, he's really interested in the things that. I mean, they have that promo.
He would have
running
liked if I would have bought him a NASA shirt from the Houston airport.
He would have loved that shirt.
That could have been his wedding gift.
He would have framed it on his wall.
He might have to settle for me buying him a shirt in Vegas that is some sort of a off-color pun about NASA.
There you go.
Maybe I'll get him a shirt that says something stupid on it. The weather forecast for today, launch day, at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, shows an 80% chance of favorable weather conditions, with primary concerns being cumulus clouds, ground winds, and solar weather. NASA and weather officers with the U.S. Space Force Space Launch Delta 45 will continue to monitor the weather leading up to liftoff. It's not just the weather for baseball that we're watching, it's the weather for spaceships.
Space.
Suggestion for you to get him a shirt from the Stratosphere.
Oh, good one.
There you go.
Huh. I've never been to that.
I haven't either. That's one
feels-
of the few.
I've been past it.
Very, very out of the way.
Well, that's the thing. It's so far down the strip. Like it's just never been something I bothered with.
I one time got off the tram because that's the last stop there, and I was like, "What do I do now?" And then I just got back on the tram. I went back to the strip because that's what you do when you get to the end of the tram. It's like, I guess I'm in a different part of Vegas now.
Do
Oh,
like
cool.
a courtesy, like, I'll walk in and see what it's like.
World's largest ball of mud. Look, kids, it's
Go
one of
take
those
it to the
things.
pawn shop and try to sell it for
Yeah,
$3.
Isn't there a roller coaster ride that hangs off the Strat or something like that?
Yeah, there's a couple
Off the
rides.
Strat?
There's a couple rides on the top. I
So-
know there's a
something going on.
I know there's
There's
a
a
roller
restaurant,
coaster at
is all
one
I
of the
know.
hotels. I think it's Hotel New York. I
Yeah,
think.
New York,
Yeah.
New York. Yeah.
They definitely have a roller coaster.
Right by John Bishop's favorite thing, the Statue of Liberty outside of New York, New York.
People forget he went virus.
He was standing there like the statue outside of New York, New York. All right. Crown coverage, by the way, coming up starting, let's call it tonight. Maybe there will be a video dispatch tonight.
Oh, good.
nice.
Is there any sporting events going on tonight that people are going to be awake for? Probably just Crown, probably. So
I totally forgot yesterday because I noticed some stuff on Twitter, but they had the World Cup playoffs and Italy got eliminated
Yeah.
by Bosnia. They missed the
Oops.
third straight World Cup.
hate to see it.
A
Although
lot less diving on the pitch this
Justice
summer.
for those who hate California Pizza Kitchen.
I do like Italians, but they did get, baseball might be their sport now.
They should just completely go big on baseball.
They should give their entire country to Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione and say, you guys know what to do. Take this.
the crossover now becomes like the Italians become massive Royals fans because of those guys.
You never know.
I love it.
You never know.
Just constant people from Italy visiting Kansas City, having barbecue for the first time.
That's really funny. And
Now that would be
that's a great
content.
idea.
I like this.
If they got the Italians some Kansas City Joes, like a Z-Man.
Watch them try to
What
eat it
is
up.
this?
They definitely need their afternoon nap after having the Z-Man.
The Z-Man with the espresso, the afternoon coffee is just a wild combination.
That would be great.
It's just a wild
I
combination.
like this.
All right. Some narratives, some topics coming out of spring ball for Nebraska football. Stock up, stock down on some entities. Should we start with the quarterback?
Yeah, I think you got to start there. I think that's kind of the biggest story. Another one of those great postseason lists I looked at yesterday, I didn't include it on the rundown today, was the most important transfer every team received.
Ooh.
And I was thinking like, there's no chance they pick anyone other than.
There's no world it's not Tony.
Yeah, it's Tony.
Okay.
It was Tony. And I think all things considered, everything we heard from him, everything you saw, if you watched the spring game or highlights, if that's all you watched, or if you avoided all of it and have only heard people talk about it.
You have to take our word for it.
I think the stock is up for Calandria with how it, looks right now in the offseason for Nebraska football, coming off of you're going to go get a guy that you've never coached before. It is likely going to be your starter. And this is what they ended up with.
The thing that I always liked about him is just the energy that he brings to the table.
Very consistent with
like I still think that. And I think you're going to see that start to sort of rub off on his teammates and things like that. Like I like what he brings on the football field. I like his skill set because it's so different than what we've been used to. And that, frankly, it just got really, really stale for me. So his play style is going to be really fun to watch. He's going to make some horrible mistakes, but like it's going to be fun to watch. There's no doubt about that. But I do think the energy that he brings to the table is infectious. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the spring. We heard a lot of that in the spring. And I don't think that's lip service. Like, I think that's a real thing.
Well, I just think some of it is such a departure of what you had sort of been building or what you had kind of built around the last few years, where now you have a guy, for better or worse, that is going to be very combustible or very, very valuable for you at that quarterback spot in terms of just sheer playmaking.
Yeah.
And so how that goes can really dictate what your offense does overall.
I think there's a potential, like there's more potential for it to kind of like blow up, I suppose, than there has been over the last couple of years. But I don't think that, like, in the wide array of possibilities and where the simulation lands.
Do you think you're about to get a Jeff Sims text or email here from the guy who loves to remind
from John? Almost for sure. Yeah.
Don't
worry, Calandria won't throw 22 interceptions this year.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
I do too.
I mean, he's going to turn the ball over. Like, he's
going to throw. Ooh, should we do an early line on Calandria picks?
Okay. Now, okay, yeah,
we can. I'll get some context.
The problem is just how many straight passing attempts.
Okay, all right. That's a fun game as well. I mean, I think they're going to go a little bit quicker on offense. Nebraska.
So he threw it 417 times last year. Nebraska as a team
threw it 378.
One of our listeners has already texted in his prediction.
Ooh.
So now this is going to cloud where I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Nebraska threw it 378 times last year. They threw 7 interceptions as a team. Obviously, they had a risk-averse quarterback.
So 417, 378. Let's just say it's like 300 and
let's just say 400.
400 even. Yeah.
400.
400 attempts. How many interceptions will Anthony Calandria have?
By the way, they threw it 435 the year before that. And in Rule's first year, obviously, they threw it none, 261.
Yeah.
So let's say 400 pass attempts for Tony.
Okay. I mean,
13.
I think I would go a little less than that.
A little lower. But yeah, I probably bumped it one.
Because I think if you set like the over-under number at 11.5, I like that. I think that's a good. Originally, I was thinking 10.5, but I think I'm in the like 11 to 12 range for interceptions.
Sith Destroyer says one interception per 100 attempts. Now that would be awesome. If he could only throw 4 next year, Nebraska's going to have a good shot to do whatever it is they want to do.
They would win quite a few games.
They would win a lot of games if
you're throwing it 400 times and he only turns it over 4 times through the air.
Why not throw at that point? Why not throw 600 times and only turn it over 6 times?
Because even if you're like, let's say that it's 400 attempts and you're just assuming that it's a 60% completion percentage, which is lower than what he's done.
Yeah.
That's still going to be pretty good.
That's going to be a lot of yards.
Yeah.
John writes in, he says this: I've seen the 2 quarterbacks Rule has chosen to play. One turned the ball over on 26% of his plays. The other couldn't outrun Turner Corcoran if he had to. We'll see if Rule has done a better job this time. I'll set the line at 17 and take the over.
Why did Turner Corcoran catch a stray?
He hates Turner Corcoran. That's one of his other bets.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Turner did nothing wrong here.
Kyle says Tony's going to throw 18 pick, or he's going to have 18 turnovers. Okay. Should we just do turnover? Because fumbles are going to be a part of this too.
Yeah,
He's going to fumble a little bit.
I don't think he'll fumble 5 times if you think he's going to throw 13 interceptions. So I'm going to go. My final answer on interceptions is 12.
Okay.
I'm going to go 12. And then I will say
3 fumbles.
Yeah, I think 15 is the number I'm at.
15 turnovers.
15 total Calandria calamities.
Right. So in
Calandria
order,
calamities, 15.
if I could pull out my drive chart from last year. Okay. So Nebraska turned the ball over. Let's see. Less than 9% of their drives last year. 10 total turnovers on offense a year ago. And actually, I don't know that I put in I did not put in the bowl game yet. So this is pre-bowl game. I got to update the drive chart there. They threw 1 pick in the bowl game, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. They only got pre-bowl game 11 forced turnovers on defense. So if Tony's turning it over 15 times, Nebraska got to get 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 turnovers on defense.
But the thing is, and this is part of like, if you want to bring this back to Tommy Armstrong and to Taylor Martinez,
Tommy,
if you have a more combustible quarterback that turns it over a little bit more, but you're also scoring at a higher rate, so you're maximizing your possessions, I can live with more total turnovers. And even if they don't have the great amount of takeaways, if you're finishing more possessions with points. And so like one of the things in that turnover chart, like if you were to extrapolate that out to 4th down failures, like, and you consider those turnovers, that number goes way up.
Well, I could tell you that number. Turnover on downs for Nebraska.
They get it on almost every game. So then you're getting up to the 20s.
I guess I really didn't, but we could add it all up. I mean, so 27% of their drives ended in punt, 13% and 34% ended in a touchdown, little under 9% ended in a turnover, and 16% ended in a field goal attempt on the year. So whatever was remaining was the turnover on downs, which there was definitely a few of them.
So 16, 9, 34. So that's 25, 34, 59. And then how many punt?
So I'm just doing punt. The last one was field goal, by the way. The punt was 27.
So 27 plus 59 is 86. So 14% of their drives ended in.
Jeez.
So more percentage of their drives ended in downs than in turnovers. So 23% of their drives, if I'm doing the math, and I'm doing this quickly.
That actually, I mean, from how it felt, that actually
so nearly
sounds
a quarter
right.
of their drives ended in turnovers or turnover on downs.
So they had a turnover on downs, 1 in the Cincinnati game, 1 in the Akron game, 1 in the Houston Christian game, 1 in the Michigan game, 1 in the Michigan State game, 1 in the Maryland game, 1 in the Minnesota game.
One every game so far.
None in the Northwestern game. Nice job.
Okay. 1 in the USC game.
1 in this USC game. None in the UCLA game.
Okay. 1 in Penn State.
Oh, more than that,
2.
Mike. 5.
They had 5 turnovers on downs.
Yes, and that
State.
is non kneel down drives.
Okay. I don't remember that, but I also after the first one wrote that game off as a loss almost immediately.
They had 5 turnover on downs in that game. So that's going to make your number go up. And then they had 1 in the Iowa game.
Okay.
I didn't do the bowl game.
Yeah.
Goo. All right. So there you go. We're just trying to math it out for
the math tells me that if Calandria turns the ball over more, but Nebraska scores more points, it's a net positive.
The other thing that the math tells me is if he throws only 1 interception per 100 attempts, Nebraska will be very good. Very, very good.
If he throws 1 interception per 100 attempts, they will beat one of Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State.
I will do an Austin Jacobson TikTok walk.
But you would actually do it?
I'd actually do it. Joey's starting to save stuff. This is not good. Yeah, no, he's going to throw more than 4 interceptions. Bank it.
Yeah,
this is promo worthy.
I'm sorry. Now you're going to have to hear this over and over and over again. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Joey's got the headlines. We'll do more stock up, stock down as we go on throughout the show today and tomorrow through the rest of the week as well. We are back after this on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from Underdog Fantasy, where the tournament continues to roll on. Yeah, the upsets may indeed still happen. Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. It's oh so easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get those picks right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So take a look at whichever matchup you like, whether it be in college, whether it be professionally this weekend, in basketball. It's all up to you. Higher or lower on those individual player stat lines, and you can combo them together to get better odds and a winning chance for yourself on Underdog. Download the app today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog. Big picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Consider with your play. Call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit ncpgambling.org. All right, welcome back. It's April Fool's Day. Oh,
What?
it's April Fool's Day. I don't know what that means for adults, but for children in schools, there will be a lot of funny jokes told, I'm sure. I visited a school yesterday.
Oh, how did that go?
It was terrific. The youth of America is in great shape. We did like a baseball, like everybody was attached to a quote unquote legend of the game, and they had to read lines and stuff like that. It was fun. They had a lot of questions about what I do with my life and what I do with my day, and they were very energetic. I loved it. Shout out to the 5th graders over at St. Robert's.
That's
yesterday.
awesome.
It was terrific. It gave me tons of joy. So I will come to the school and talk to the kids if you feel like I'm a decent person to do that. Offer myself up.
You got
They're
plenty-
having
you got-
early Friday shout outs for the 5th graders at St. Roberts.
That's right. Yes. Shout out to the small group of 5th graders at St. Roberts. Few Creighton fans in there too.
Oh, nice.
They were excited. They had seen me at the volleyball and the basketball games. All right, Joey. That's right. What do we got for headlines today?
Okay, the first headline: floating hotel with 250 rooms proposed for Vancouver's Cole Harbor.
Whoa. I am intrigued.
I've never been to Vancouver. It's on a list of places I want to visit, and
This-
now it might have a floating hotel.
This might be an auto click for me. I'm curious about the other story, but I am also very curious about the floating hotel. Let's hear the other headline.
Yep.
Detroit toddler safe after being accidentally towed inside a repossessed car.
Ooh, that's scary. I don't want to hear about that.
Yeah.
Check the back seat.
It's definitely
Definitely check the back seat.
All right, floating hotel with 250 rooms proposed for Vancouver's Cole Harbor. This is from the CBC, British Columbia. A 250 room hotel could make a home floating on the water in Vancouver's Cole Harbor. Vancouver City Council is set to discuss a proposal on Tuesday that would allow a floating hotel vessel and new dock connecting to the Vancouver Convention Center. I believe this is just an easier way of saying it's a boat. Now, I thought
what it
it
looked
meant
like.
floating, like floating in the air.
Oh.
I feel as if I have been duped by the headline.
Why did you think floating in the
I don't
air?
know. I'm not sure.
It says
I was
harbor.
like, ooh, floating hotel.
I mean, that's basically a 17-hour flight
It's
from
floated.
New York to Sydney, Australia, in those first class airplanes.
What?
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from. Joe. You're
As
gonna
far
have
as
to
floating
explain.
hotels go down, it's basically a first class flight from New York to Sydney, Australia.
Oh, you're talking about like
those 17-hour flights.
price?
Basically. Anyway, go on with the story.
I'm confused about what the
He's
Australian thing-
equating the floating or flying in a plane
to
to
like float
Sydney.
in the floating hotel.
yeah.
Okay, I got you. My bad.
It took me a minute, but I got there.
Seaplane Terminal Vancouver Harbor Flight Center, which submitted the rezoning application on behalf of the Finnish company Sunborn Group, said the project would be one of a kind. Vancouver Harbor Flight Center chairman Graham Clark said in a letter of intent submitted to the city in January 25 that the proposal would contribute to Vancouver's hotel stock, noting the city has, quote, lost a significant number of hotel rooms to redevelopment. And now they're getting a boat.
So if it's floating, like, do you have to take a boat to get to the boat?
It
that
looks
is at
like
the
there's a
hotel?
walkway to the boat.
Yeah.
Be a lot more fun if you had to take like a small boat.
A
over.
boat island.
Well, it says
Yeah.
off a harbor, so you got to get
There's-
to the boat.
There is a
somehow.
bridge. There is a walkway to the boat. The hotel would include a publicly accessible hotel bar, shops, a restaurant, a viewing area on the north side, as well as one-story buildings for cafe and spa, which would be open to the public. The dock would be open to the public from 6 a.m. to 10 p. The staff noted the hotel would partially obstruct views, including of the harbor and North Shore along the seawall. Vancouver ODP plans for small floating structures up to 9 meters high in the development area, but the proposed hotel would be 20 meters high. So they're running into some zoning issues with these things, as you can imagine, because it's a boat hotel.
A
I imagine that's a
boatel?
tough thing to zone.
Do you call it a boatel?
A boatel, that's what I would call it.
Yeah.
Put a
So-
big sign on top of it that would say boatel.
They're looking to get people to come to their boatel. Would you stay at the boatel or
Absolutely.
would you just visit the public?
I love
section of
doing
it?
things for the like
Comedy of
vanity / comedy / like once in a whatever experience.
Curiosity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And staying on a boatel would
Have
be
you-
in Vancouver would be very memorable.
Have you stayed at any particularly like weird hotel or anything like that that isn't just a casino, like where it has like the theme or the look of it outside? But
Grand Ole Opry
okay, like
or
the
Opryland Hotel.
the giant one in Nashville.
Yeah.
Man,
That one's kind of weird. I got stuck in the elevator there.
you can get lost there easily.
I got stuck in the elevator there.
I watched Mike
a while.
Riley play his gifted banjo there during the Music City Bowl with
Did he
Butch,
do some John
Butch
Prine?
Jones on the other side.
Did he do some John Prine? I love John Prine.
I don't think he did.
Oh man, he loved John Prine.
He just kind of stood there and held it for awkward photos. It was great.
Yeah, that's what happens at the Opryland Hotel. All right, let's take a break. Those are the headlines, courtesy of our dear friend Joey Colbert. We're back halfway home on a Wednesday after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 8 o'clock here on a Wednesday. Once again, keep in mind April Fool's Day. Here is a tweet from Runza. We were tired of the crinkle cuts, so we're trying something new. Introducing our new ranch seasoned steak fries. And it's a picture of a bunch of steak fries with a burger. This is an April Fool's joke.
It is.
You cannot change the Runza crinkle fries, nor would you ever.
So one of the suggestions I had, and we might get to this for the Tuesday power rankings with tiers, was best fries or best fast food fries, something along those lines. Or
Runza fries
even
are
just,
pretty
we
close.
could change it to best fast food potato product. So if you wanted to include Olays or Mexi fries
Some
or tots or what have you, potato cakes if you're of the RB type.
I am.
Yeah, the Runza fries would be really good. Steak fries in general always end up low for me relative to other fries.
I'm like, it's funny. You might say that this take is sort of predictable coming from me.
Ooh, I can't wait.
I like how there's such a variety of fries.
Yeah,
like I appreciate a steak. I appreciate the novelty almost of when a restaurant throws me a steak fry. I'm like, this is great.
Don't misunderstand. I don't pass on the steak fry.
Okay.
They just have a much higher threshold that, like, the chances of them being bad seem higher to me just because good steak fries, I think, are harder to find than like good shoestring
They
fries.
definitely seem harder to do.
Because there's more area of it. And so you can get a mushier, less, crispy fry.
Too much potato.
Yeah. Or they can get really over seasoned because there's so much area for the seasoning to just sort of sit. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely good steak fries. I agree with the take in general, though. Like, I want the versatility in fries.
Yep.
I want Freddy's fries to be different than Culver's fries, to be different than McDonald's fries, to be different than, whatever you're going to get. The Taco Bell fries, if you're someone to eat such a thing.
Oh, I had those once, and they're really good. And then I stopped thinking about them for a while.
100%. I've had them one time, and I was like, these are good.
I like the
and then
nacho.
I never get them ever again.
I like the nacho cheese dip.
Yeah.
That it came with. That was good. Yeah, maybe I'll get a nacho fry from Taco Bell at some point. But there you go. Get ready for your latest and greatest April Fool's jokes. Texter from the 402. Best steak fries equals Red Robin.
I do like Red Robin's fries quite a bit.
I'm into Red Robin in so
really
long, but the bottomless fries, where I was always so frustrated because it would take purposefully too long to deliver me my next basket of fries. I was always confused as to why I couldn't get 4 baskets of fries just right out of the gate.
I have a friend where our thing is that we go to Red Robin on his birthday because you get like a free burger or whatever your birthday month.
Incredible.
And so we've been doing this. I mean, he's a pro wrestler guy that was down in Louisville. He's the one I went to the Kentucky Derby with.
Okay.
We've been doing this for over a decade now. And it got to the point where, like, we'd sit down and basically we'll just go ahead and take another order of the bottomless. Like, you don't have to bring it out right away. Just know we're going to want more.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. So
they have a good onion ring tower there, if I remember right.
I never had that. Like, never had the tower of onion rings at Red Robin.
It's like I said, it's been a while, but I remember that being pretty dang good. All right. Welcome back once again. Let's get into this real quick. A Nebraska basketball topic for you. So as we mentioned a couple days ago, really surprising news that came out while we were on this show that Ben Jacobson was departing Northern Iowa and going to Utah State. So I theorized right away that Nate Lenzer could be a potential guy for that job. There's been some people who have jumped on the hot board making for Northern Iowa. The guy who seems to be at the front of the line is the Iowa State assistant, Kyle Green. Seth Tuttle could get promoted from within, former Northern Iowa basketball player, like keep it in the family, okay? And then Nate Lenzer, who's a Cedar Falls native and is obviously Fred Hoiberg's top assistant and the architect of that defense that has been really, really good over the last couple of years. So For the record, I don't think this is the one.
Yeah.
For Lenzer. I kind of, for a variety of different reasons, I don't think it'd be the right one for Lenzer in particular, and I also don't think it'd be the right one for Northern Iowa to go to him. I think he's a really good option to have if you're Northern Iowa, but I also don't know that he would take it. Like I'm not sure that he would take that job. Coming off of Jacobson leaving it, it's just I don't know. Like you're going to be able to get paid at Nebraska. I know I'm sure he wants to be a head coach and wants to give.
Will be. He'll be a head coach.
It just doesn't have to be this.
Right. This, in some ways, and I could be completely out of my mind, so feel free to mock the hell out of this cross sports reference that's about to happen here. In some ways, it reminds me a lot of where Tony White was at after the 2023 season, where he had San Diego State and potentially UCLA and all of these different places that were interested. But I feel very strongly now, even 2 years after the fact, Tony White's going to be a head coach somewhere.
Yep.
He's going to be a head coach and he is going to do well. I believe in him in a way that is almost over the top, in part because I think his personality really befits that. I think he's set himself up well. All of these things. I also think that he's going to be judicious and was judicious about where he wants that first opportunity to be.
Now, if you look at it on paper, like Cedar Falls guy, I mean,
you know the area.
This could be the right job for him. At the same time, it's just, it's, Northern Iowa has been a school that is, they took a long break from the NCAA tournament. They've had a lot of consistency at that job over the last couple decades. It's a good job for the conference that they're in. They also have a football team.
I was going to say you're in running second in football.
Yep.
Which, I mean, he's coming from Nebraska, so he's sort of used to that.
At that level, it's a negative to have a football team if you're a basketball coach, right? And there's not a lot of money to go around, and every dollar that you do have is going to, even at a place that has such a strong basketball history like UNI does.
It's a football place.
You have to be a football place.
Because they're in the best football conference for football in, FCS.
Right.
So, they have to devote resources to it in the same way that South Dakota State is in this same sort of thing where they have a great history of basketball and they have been good at basketball, but they have to send Dan Jackson as many resources as possible because football is a driver of what they want to be.
And South Dakota State has, that's a good one to bring up. They've lost a lot of coaches over the last several years, and they've continued to sort of churn. Northern Iowa is, Jacobson was there for 20 years.
Right.
And for him to leave just now after going to the NCAA tournament, you haven't dealt with this before, especially in this era, if you're Northern Iowa, and him leaving, I don't know, for me, that was so surprising. I'm thinking, ooh, they must not have enough of what they want to be able to compete, even in their space.
Right.
Which is, something that you always want to know going into a job. Now,
who are the Missouri Valley teams right now?
Great question.
I'm sitting here thinking about it. And it's I can't tell you who they are. I have no idea.
I can tell you.
You got Murray State. You got Belmont.
These are
notable. You do have Missouri State and Belmont.
Notable Missouri Valley.
So
team.
Belmont won.
Bradley's notable.
Belmont won the regular season this year. Bradley. So the old school ones that were in there when Creighton was in there. Bradley, Illinois State, UNI, Southern Illinois, Drake, Indiana State, and Evansville. There's been a couple churn-ins and churn-outs, but currently the other ones are Belmont, Illinois Chicago, Murray State, Valparaiso, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's a conference.
That is a conference.
And so, there's sort of a lot in there, and I think it probably throws up a little bit of a red flag. Now, at the same time, when you are courting people for a job and when then you ultimately hire that person, whoever it is, and you're the athletic director, or you're the program sort of in a more general sense, you're going to say, yeah, we're going to give our coach the resources and the blah, 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 blah necessary, because I've never heard a hire happen in the last 5 years that doesn't have that statement attached to it. And to a certain extent, it happens because the donations that you get and the money that you get is based off of momentum for your program. Look at Nebraska basketball right now, right? Like, they're not going to have more money next year because they're going to get a bigger cut of the rev share pie. They're going to, like, maybe they will, like, ever so slightly.
Very slightly.
Although I doubt it. The money that they're going to have that's at their fingertips next year comes from donors, comes from outside.
Outside excitement.
It's because of the momentum of the program.
Right.
Right. And so it is, it's important to always have that. And doing that, you could generate that by hiring a local guy. So it'll be fascinating for them. Now, the bigger picture here for Nebraska is Lenzer's gone at some point, right? Now, that doesn't mean much of anything. Like, I mean, I think he's a guy that you obviously want to keep here.
Sure.
I think he wants to be a head coach. I think Nebraska's got a lot of this stuff, kind of on lock. And frankly, I trust Fred's ability to go out and find the next guy who would sort of take that role and figure out some new things on the staff. They got a little bit of a rhythm to them.
Yeah.
They've been doing the same thing for a couple years now. It's kind of set in stone. You got a culture. Like, now could be a time where you could lose him and you'll feel still okay about what happens afterwards.
Yeah, it just presents itself in a really sort of fascinating way if you're Nate Lenzer, because I think there's an element of this of, have you, not necessarily the peak, but like, if you look at it from, will you have more of an opportunity this year to get a job when Fred Hoiberg's up for, coach of the year and you just finished second in the Big Ten? Could it be next year if everything comes together where you get the right portal group and you have Sanford coming back with Frager, and that in itself creates its own dynamic? So you're weighing that. And then there's also, the reality of this is a place like Northern Iowa, a good spot for him to begin his, journey as a head coach.
People have won there before.
Because one, you could be competitive there. So I think that's an answer. This is sort of the awkward part of the Nate Lenzer conversation. I mean, he is in a unique spot with his hand, with physically how he looks, and like, that's going to be a thing that will come up, unfortunately. And, I don't want to veer too far down this path. That would be a thing that would come up, if he's hired at a larger program, like, that would be a discussion point. It just would be.
Yeah.
The optics of it. I know this sounds dumb.
No,
but you understand what I mean.
I hadn't really thought about it. I hadn't really thought, maybe it's
been mentioned to me by other people in the past, both inside and out of the industry, of like, hey, I'm curious what that would do. If this is the face of your program, how do people feel about that? Which is a weird thing to say. And I'm uncomfortable right now talking about it.
Yeah.
But
I don't mean to make,
right.
But I guess I'd never really thought about that at all.
But going to somewhere like your hometown, that could make that a little bit easier or a more comfortable environment to do something.
They know what they're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't want to make too much of it. I don't think it's going to prevent him from getting jobs, but it certainly is in a conversational piece on it. The thing that always fascinates me about the Northern Iowa type jobs is, if you have your larger donor class, how much of an influence do they have on who ultimately ends up being the next head coach? Because if you are relatively fighting for scraps of money and you have someone that's involved in the process that's like, hey, I'll give more if it's so-and-so or out of these candidates, usually that's how you end up with a former player or someone that has ties to that institution.
I would think with this job that we just talked about 3 guys there who probably are selling themselves a little bit, like, would say, hey, look, this is why so I don't know that it really matters, right? Like, because I think you're getting strong interest from the other side of things for guys who want to crack at that job. Yeah, I do wonder about that a little bit too. And it's never the donor base has never had a more direct line to make decisions like that than they do right now. That much is for sure. And that goes for everyone everywhere
Yeah,
for the record.
no doubt about it.
So that's sort of an interesting way to think about it. So we'll see what happens with Lenzer. The other thing I wonder is, does a coach at his level, like, is there a time where he could wait it out and potentially get a high major job coming off of this, a run at Nebraska? Like, or does it have to be so good that, he ends up on like the Tommy Lloyd track?
Right.
Like, I don't, obviously Nebraska's not Gonzaga and haven't figured that out, haven't had the consistency to that point yet. But, Lloyd goes off and he's got a machine right now,
right,
at Arizona. So,
well, there's a world where you paint this picture where it's like, okay, does he go off, have success somewhere else, and then when Hoiberg calls it quits, Nebraska has an easy guy to go to that is well connected to this place and will always be well connected to this place.
Yeah.
So I mean,
in that case, you probably want him to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I in basketball, probably more than football, I think there's a value in having been a head coach, and making that move of coaching somewhere else and developing something and then coming back versus, moving up the assistant coach.
It's a great, it's one of the nice things in my mind when I think about Huss.
Yeah, great. Because he, when he was on last week and I asked that question, like, what's the value of going somewhere and knowing that you have to go build something? Like, and he did at High Point, and he did it at a high and sustainable level.
I wouldn't, who am I to say I wouldn't have felt comfortable with Huss if they would have just hired him off of being an assistant at Creighton?
It would have felt different.
It would have felt different, and it would have, there's no sure things, right? Like, maybe that's the overarching thing in all of this. There's no sure things at all, point blank period. But
there's if you get John Calipari, that's a sure thing.
Sure. I'm talking about, I guess, like hiring a long-time assistant
or whatever.
Yeah. Hiring a long-time assistant. And
I just wanted to carve out of
you're right.
There's coaches that are going to win no matter where they're at.
If you get Patino, you're probably.
That was the first person I thought of. You could take that guy and put him in any program in the country, and I think they're going to win 20 games.
What? It's Iona to the tournament.
I know.
Not that that's like a horrible job for the conference that they're in, but he was in
how
the
many
NCAA
times
tournament.
Before and how many times after?
Seriously. So yeah, there are very few sure things, I suppose. But I got to be honest with you, I do feel a lot better that Huss went and did that, and now is back.
Yeah,
I think that helps. And so if Lenzer is the guy one day, which I don't know that we're it's a fascinating thought. How much longer does Hoiberg have? Who would be the guys on his list of successors? Do we get to the point of successor? Would that be accepted at Nebraska? It's largely, you mentioned it's one of the places where there's a lot of influence from a lot of people, right. And a lot of people will have takes on this job especially if they keep it rolling the way they are.
The job would be in by the time Fred walks.
Well, let's just say they roll. They're in the tournament every year, and they win.
Say he leaves it as he left Iowa State to go to Chicago, basically.
Sure.
So they're a tournament team, and they're
perennial tournament team making a couple deep runs.
A top 30 team in the country, generally.
Yeah, sure.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Top 40.
Does he get a successor?
I think at Nebraska, yes, because of what he accomplished in that. If he does that.
I don't know, man. Nebraska is just.
If he does that, it's Fred Hoiberg court at Nebraska.
I would say let him do whatever he wants.
Well, yeah.
I would name the building after him and all those different things.
There's a fair amount of people, myself likely included, that's pretty much at that point already.
Yeah, right.
I have made peace with the idea that I assume Fred Hoiberg's the best coach I'll ever see at Nebraska basketball in my lifetime, and I'm hoping to live a lot longer than, his time at Nebraska.
Right. And so it's funny though. I just don't know. You don't know who's going to be in charge. You don't know what it's going to look like, what the landscape's going to look like. I don't know. Nebraska's never, you'd be bringing up some bad memories if you went to the coach in waiting, quote unquote thing, the succession plan, quote unquote thing. It's odd.
Yeah,
it's an odd thought.
You would get those conversations of and it's sort of what fascinated me about the Creighton situation, where you knew who your coach was before you knew when your coach was done.
Yeah.
Which
But Creighton is this
fascinating.
kind of smaller,
Yeah.
like, and obviously they had done the coach in waiting thing several times. And that has an impact, but it always felt like they were, I don't know if it was a priority. I don't think it was a priority. They were going to like probably keep it in the family. And then also Mac, everyone wants Mac to have the say in what happens next.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
which is, I think, what would happen if Nebraska is what Iowa State was at the end under Fred Hoiberg.
But you just hope that there's, because if Nebraska's rolling like they were at Iowa State, people are going to be like, no, we need to go get like whoever is John Calipari, you know what I mean? Like,
that'd be a real real conversation.
Whoever is the current John Calipari at the time,
and it's whoever it is. If there's a succession,
Ben
they
McCollum.
have to be good,
Yeah.
Well, Ben McCollum's going to North Carolina, according to some Instagram post I saw yesterday.
A lot of people are doing Instagram posts these days.
Before we get too far away from this, and I know it was on our rundown sheet.
This is a great topic. I love this topic.
I doubt that we'll have another reason to revisit Nebraska basketball today. So I want to know your thoughts on that Fred Hoiberg post-game speech. I can't believe how good that was.
He ripped off
that moment to do that. And if you haven't seen it, you can find it, on the socials for Nebraska basketball. It's after the game. The players are sitting in the locker room. You can audibly hear sniffling, like fighting back of emotion. And Fred comes in, and it's like 3.5 minutes, and he rips off the Band-Aid of the end of your season, the end of careers, the end of their time together. And he does it in an incredible way.
The poignant part was when we come back.
Yeah.
To have the wherewithal in that
Bring
moment.
your kids.
It really reminded me of, the most famous one was Mac after the Doug team. That loss was so bad and so hard, and that was such a team, and it was a lot like that. It really was. And that team was kind of like that too, where it was like the first one, it was like, oh my God, you guys, the message is, you guys in this room right now have no bleeping idea what you did. You could not understand the scope of it. Only now are we starting to understand the scope of what that 14 team did here, right? Only now are we finally seeing it. Look at all the buildings that have been built. Look at all and that was it's been transformational. And so, maybe Nebraska already has all the bells and whistles as far as their buildings and stuff like that is concerned.
Got a lot of bells.
But this is, what that team, in theory, that's transformational,
right,
for Nebraska basketball. And so to kind of put that in context, 5 seconds after the game ended, is just really good.
And it's like, I'm sure he had an idea of what he wanted to say, but to sort of rip that,
you gotta like execute
off the
it.
cuff,
Yeah.
and then he weaves in there before he even gets to the part about when we come back and bring your kids. Like, he's going through all of the seniors, starting with Kendall and then through Jared, and then leading up to his son, and it's just really, really well done. Like, really, really well done.
Yep, you could tell why that team was good. They absolutely.
We can also just tell you like why playing for Fred Hoiberg would be great.
Yep.
If you're a basketball guy, if you're a whatever you are.
Let's take a break. Sam McEwen is our next guest. He will join us on the other side on 1620 The Zone. All right. Just about 8:30 on a Wednesday, April 1. The weather's supposed to be good, right? Nope. Wrong. This is when it turns back to winter, apparently, or some version of it. Sam McEwen joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Morning, Sam. What's going on?
I guess the weather. It's like they tease us with 88 and getting out and golfing, and now I got to go back and into the rain and the cold.
I could feel the exact moment when the cold front hit downtown Omaha last night. It was an exact
at the game.
Yeah. It was an exact moment in time, and then it was over. So it turned back to winter.
Hey,
That's too bad.
I kind of have a random question playing off of last night's Nebraska game against Creighton. So we know Nebraska-Creighton basketball, big rivalry. We know Nebraska-Creighton volleyball has become a big thing over time. What is it like for you as the sports editor with the World Herald? Like, how big of a deal are the Nebraska-Creighton one-off games? And then we kind of had the discussion earlier this morning. Do you think it would be even bigger if it was a weekend series? Or do you think the one-offs sort of work in their own way for that?
The one-offs work, in my opinion. I think it becomes a standalone event, provided the weather is good. I think that it went to the next level when they started having the games at Rosenblatt. And I remember like the first time they ever had it there was like 22,000 people. It was an incredible crowd. Nebraska was really good at the time. And no, I kind of like the one-offs. I like the idea that there's 3 times over the course of April and May when these two teams come together and, you know, it has kind of its own stage. Obviously it would be fun if there was a 3-game series at Schwab Field and, you know, it was Friday through Sunday, but I kind of feel like they get this right. I kind of like it that way. I understand that, like, not always are the crowds really huge. I don't know exactly what the number was out at Schwab last night, but it'll help if Creighton. They're going through a rebuilding year this year, but it'll help if they get really good under Kingston, because I think Nebraska is going to maintain its level. I don't know that they're ever going to get back to where they were in the early 2000s, but I think Nebraska is going to be a sort of a perennial regional team. And people are talking like this team might host a regional. The jury's out for me a little bit on that until they play the big series, and they have a couple of them, and they probably need to win one of those series, in my opinion, to be in a shape to host a regional. But, you know, this is one of the better Nebraska teams that I think we've seen in a while, and Creighton nearly took one from them. You know, Creighton knows how to play this game, and they know how to play Nebraska in that rivalry.
Sam, you got asked a question sort of along these lines in your mailbag regarding football, talking about tempo a little bit. I'm interested in if your thoughts. So based off of that, are your thoughts any different coming out of the spring on how you feel like this marriage and wherever it lands with Calandria and Dana Holgerson, like where this offense sort of ends up? Do we have a clearer picture of that now after spring ball?
I think the clearest picture that we had is when Holgerson was explaining how much he enjoys coaching this guy, which to me felt like he was getting back to, okay, these are the kind of guys I'm used to. A little bit of a gunslinger mentality, a guy that could kind of make some plays out of the pocket, not overly cautious. And I think Dylan could be, Riley could be cautious. And Lateef admitted that he was cautious. He said, I got a little mechanical in a couple of those games. So he was even candid about that. It's one of the things I really like about Lateef is he's pretty honest. So I think Holgerson's getting back to the kind of guys that he likes, which are, you know, sort of living out on the edge, trying to make a play. I think that's where Holgerson wants to live. And I think you're going to see some tempo from this offense, partially out of necessity. I think they're going to have to score some points. Some of the teams they're playing this coming year are not going to be held to 10. Oregon's not going to be held to 10 points by Nebraska's defense. So, you know, I think there's an understanding that there's going to be moments this coming year where you're going to have to score some points. And to be clear, Nebraska should have beaten USC last year. And if Riley doesn't get hurt, they probably do. That said, it was a big ask to say you were going to beat USC, 17-10. That's just not the reality. With the very best teams in the Big Ten, you have to actually score points. You can win some 13-10 games against some of the lower teams, but it's very hard to do that with the best teams. And so, Nebraska's going to have to find a way to put points on the board. They're not going to beat Indiana 14-13. If they beat Indiana, it's going to be 31-27. It's going to be a hell of a football game, and it's not going to be low scoring. So they've got to find a way to get that offense going a little bit. And I think that's one area where Holgorsen has probably helped this program along a little bit. I think Rule came here, and I think he was kind of under the impression, we'll try to win some games, 12-9 or 14-11 or 13-10, and you're just not going to live that way if you want to go to the playoffs. You have to be able to score.
So let's talk about that defense then. You got eyes on them for the spring game. Obviously, it wasn't like you saw everything that Rob Arch plans to do or everything Nebraska plans to do defensively. What did it look like to you just seeing those guys out there playing in that setting? And, Dwayne McDougal thinks that they could have the best defense in the country, or at least in the Big Ten. I don't know if they can get there, but what do you make of that group? I think that's still a giant question for me as to what that could all look like, both in the positive or even in the negative for next season.
I'm with you. I think it's a question mark. I think there's some good things. I think one of the things we saw is that, against the routes that Nebraska wanted to run, the secondary covered pretty well. Nebraska's passing game averaged 3.1 yards per attempt. So that's good. And they gave them some man coverage opportunities. And I thought the guys on the defensive side of the ball covered, they covered Quasi Gilmer, and they were able to cover, some of the other receivers. Not every single time, but I thought they did a pretty good job. So I think that was encouraging. I think from a run defense perspective, you're still going to have to see what these guys can do when they're fully healthy in the fall. Chambliss and Foster didn't play together, I don't think, and neither one of them played very much. I think the jury is still out. I think this is a defense that's going to have to play with incredible effort, and by that I don't mean like they try hard. I mean they're going to have to play with sort of a manic, violent energy that overcomes some of the maybe size deficiencies that they're going to have to work through. And then they really do have to get everybody back healthy, and then they've got to really play hard on the defensive line. It's not a huge line, as everybody knows, and I don't know that it has a dominant player on it the way that Ty Robinson was dominant back in 24. So they've got to find a way to play that group really well, and they've got to play with an incredible amount of effort. Jasir Whittington is a good start. The way he plays is the way all of them have to play. It isn't just him. It's got to be everybody.
Do you think they have a playmaker on that defensive side of the ball? I mean, that's one of these things that I just feel like Nebraska has lacked, is that they just don't have this guy that can force a fumble or tip the pass up in the air or whatever it has to be. I look at that defense and it's a collection of solid players almost every time. Could one of those transfer guys from San Diego State potentially be that for Nebraska?
Well, I think Jasir Whittington's going to make some plays. You have to when you're that size. You're not going to be the guy that nobody can move. So I do think he'll make some plays, and I think he'll rack up some nice numbers. He reminds me of some guys they've had in the past, and Doug Duro, or not really Malik Collins. Malik Collins is better than I think Whittington is going to be. But they've had guys that were shorter that made plays. Anthony Jones, we'll have to see. He was on paternity leave, so he didn't play in the game. I know that they like him. I don't know. I think that's a great question, is do they have a player? I think in 2 years, Tyson Terry can be that guy. I think Tyson showed some really good things, but that's a lot to ask of a redshirt freshman. So Dexter Foster, this is just based on what I've heard. Dexter Foster's been probably the standout, and he was a little banged up for the spring game, which he's been banged up in his career at Oregon State. So they got to get him healthy. I think Foster is a guy that's going to play inside the Big Ten box and play very stout. I think Chambliss can run. And so sometimes, like on blitzes, I think Chambliss is a guy that's going to make something happen, because Chambliss has got speed. He's just got a lot of lot of speed on him. So we'll see. I don't know that I see. I'll give you an example. Minnesota last year had an okay defense, but they had one hell of a pass rusher, and Nebraska hasn't had that in a while. And man, is it nice when you have one. The thing about Minnesota is they've had one about 5 out of the last 7 years, where they've had a guy that can go get the quarterback.
Yep.
And several
And great
of them are in the
safety play.
NFL. Yeah, they've had great safety play. I agree with that. Of course, that guy went to Oregon. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They've had great safety play, and they've had a pass rusher. And Nebraska's just not been able to get that guy. It's weird to say that, in the last decade, I think Ross DeZuris has the most sacks in a single season from 2016 to 2025. I think he had 8 back in 2016.
A lot of 7.5s in there.
Ooh.
Yeah, like Khalil Davis. And I mean, Khalil's an incredible athlete and
Solid.
and runs a 4.81 or whatever he ran in the combine. Just an obscene number. But they need to find a guy like that. They need to find a guy like Ty. And Ty Robinson and Cole Davis are not remotely similar players, but you need to go get a guy that's able to do that. I am reminded that Nebraska used to get some pretty darn good defensive linemen and pass rushers, and that continued up through the Davis twins. And since then, it just hasn't been. They haven't gotten as many good players to get here and make an impact, and they got to keep working at it, I guess.
It's not illegal. They can. It's they're available. They're out there. Sam, we'll let you go. Thanks as always. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your week.
Happy April.
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald.
Not illegal.
It's not illegal. It's real. It's legal.
You are allowed to get guys who get sacks.
So Nebraska last year, I'm looking at the updated ones, 13 turnovers forced on defense, 4 fumbles forced. 6 interceptions picked off on defense, and 11 turnovers lost on offense. I was going to ask Sam if we had enough time for a follow-up, but I wonder what his gain to lost turnover sort of numbers in his head are. It's such a big factor.
I think so much of that comes down to okay, is the offense good or is it just okay? Because then if it's just okay, then the possession matter more. But if it's good, you can score.
Yep. And so you got to have both of them. Sacks has been just rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rough. Rule said 40 sacks a couple of years ago. 40 sacks, you win 10 games. Nebraska ain't been anywhere close.
40 sacks in 4 years, maybe.
It's a bit closer to that. We'll take a break. We'll round out the hour. Coming up after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, today's Angel Hernandez of the day is CB Buckner. Congratulations to CB Buckner. And I think he's going to be the Angel Hernandez of the day for a while. Did you see this? Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah.
Last night?
I mean, I was on the CB Buckner losing 6 out of 8 challenges.
Pretty
In
funny.
his first behind the home plate. So how could he possibly top it, Connor?
Oh, he just went down the first base line. Here
Didn't
is
get any better.
some shocking footage from Milwaukee last night featuring the one and the only CB Buckner.
Milwaukee retains their challenge.
Yeah, that call got overturned.
Really excited for him to have the plate tomorrow.
Good stuff from Jeff Levering over on the Brewers broadcast. Yep, that is one of the best we got.
Allegedly.
If you weren't watching or if you didn't see the clip, Jake Bowers stepped directly where he was supposed to, like where they teach it, right?
It's not like he nicked it in the front,
like the
or
front
caught it on the
heel
back cleat.
hits the short side of the bag, and then the rest of the foot lands on top of it. That is literally in the Tom Amansky book, in the Tom Amansky video.
Underrated part of that video is when they kind of cut the like Bowers standing by the first base coach.
He was like, "What?
Yeah.
Why are you tagging me, bro? What's going on?"
Yeah, he's basically not that. Like after he's told that he missed the bag,
Oh.
and his face is just like, "You're an idiot." Like he's not going.
So this is the thing. He gets exposed on a nightly basis now.
Yeah.
Now the replay has been in effect for a few years, but he's going to take behind the plate tonight.
He gets behind the plate.
He gets behind the plate tonight. So this is the cool thing. So I saw people, commenting there. There's been a lot of takes on this. I don't know if you've noticed over the first few days of ABS, and they were like, "I don't understand how these umpires continue to get jobs or whatever it is." And so the normal thing is still true. Like, first of all, it is difficult, and there's always going to be challenges no matter what. However, if one guy continues to screw up over and over and over again, the positive part now is he gets exposed nightly, publicly, in front of everybody in the building, in front of everybody watching on TV, in front of the internet, which was already exposing CB Buckner and Angel Hernandez for years. But like, this is the closest thing we have, as I mentioned the other day. This is the closest thing we have to the umpire, holding the umpire's feet to the fire thing. Like they get embarrassed on a nightly basis if they're
it's like
bad.
an accountability session for him as the game is going on. And here's the thing: most of the umpires and most of the games that you watch aren't going to have CB Buckner type.
That's true. Most of them are good.
You're going to have some calls, but it's not going to be 6 out of 8 in the majority of games.
No,
because once you get 2 wrong, you're done. And how do I know this? The team that I root for is horrendous at this.
Well, they don't have Salvador Perez.
It's like pick an NFL coach when they first introduced the challenge system there, and they just didn't understand how to do.
They just really
things.
like throwing the flag.
And they would challenge like stupid moments, and just low percentage. Even if you win, it doesn't make sense. So what is the point of what you're doing? So last night I watched Cleveland challenge 2 different calls, lose both of them by a substantial, it wasn't like the ball was just off. There was a good gap on the graphic of air between the box that it has to touch, and it just has to touch just a little bit of the box.
That's it.
But no, there was like a half a baseball in between the pitch that Gabriel Arias decided to challenge, why he's on the team is a question. Why he's even allowed to challenge.
Sam Long of the day.
But why he is allowed to challenge when it's a 1-1 count with nobody on base.
Ooh, that's an interesting.
So part of what fascinates me about the ABS is the strategy of when you choose to use it.
And who gets to use it.
Cleveland did it twice last night in completely dumb times. There's nobody on base. The one was the one that I mentioned. So it goes from it was a 1-2 count and stayed a 1-2 count because it was, a strike or whatever it was. The other one they challenged, the one where there's a bigger gap, they challenged from the pitching side of it. They thought it was a strike, and it really wasn't close. Also went from instead of a 2-1 count, it would have been a 1-2 count with 2 outs in the inning and nobody on base. Yeah. Unbelievably dumb to use your challenges.
Not high enough of a leverage.
And I watched Stephen Kwan, who has a very good batter's eye, do it in the first inning for no reason whatsoever.
See,
you're the
but-
first batter of the game.
My guess would be, and there will be stats that back this up, there are going to be certain guys that you just trust with this, and certain
Right,
guys
Quan
that
would be
you,
one of them.
that you just can't. And so I wonder who's going to have the green light and who's going to not as you go forward with this thing. It'll be interesting to watch. And then the umps obviously getting exposed on a nightly basis is a big part of it as well. All right, we'll come back. Lauren Michelson will join us in about 15, 20 minutes. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday, April 1. Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. Stay tuned for the next couple days. We'll have coverage from the college basketball crowd. I couldn't stand idly by as my friends went and watched the tournament. I needed to travel to see a tournament, and it just so happens that this tournament in particular has a little mascot with a little crown on his head, cool hats, and features the Creighton Blue Jays. So I'm going, and I'll be talking to you from Vegas tomorrow morning, and periodically throughout the other shows throughout the next couple days as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be the man on the theme.
And on the radio with John Bishop.
It's going to be fun. The last couple times that you were on with John, things did not go great, and John went virus for it.
It was also in Vegas.
Yeah, I was going to say you've called more games in Vegas than anywhere else as it relates to Creighton basketball.
Creighton basketball games cities called. After this weekend could be either 3, 4, or 5 games, Las Vegas, Nevada. One game, Chicago, Illinois. 0 games, literally anywhere else.
Yeah. Just a commanding lead for Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas
which makes sense. It's your favorite team. It's your favorite city.
Well, Vegas is going to jump on. Sport. Vegas is probably going to jump on for like 2 or 3 more games for the players there next year too.
It's soon to be your favorite postseason tournament that isn't March Madness.
That is true.
So it's all of these.
I have never been an NIT guy. Now it will have to take over the CBI in my brain, which I do hold close to my heart because of Creighton's loss to Oregon in Game 3 of the CBI Championship Series in 2011. It was unbelievable. What a time it was, Mike Schaefer. What a time it was.
They played a 3-game.
They played a 3-game series, and Antoine Young stepped on a fake line that didn't even exist.
Fake lines, fake fouls. You guys just can't take your losses in these situations.
You watch the video, probably because you won't be able to see it because it was 2011 and there's like 2 pixels on it.
Well, you telling me the line's John Cena?
But you go look at that line. You won't be able to find it. The whole court was made of camouflage. It was a tree. They had to change the court at Oregon because of Antoine Young.
They didn't change it for the better if they change it to what they have now.
It is better than it was. I'm serious. Go look. It was
2013?
2011. 2011, Creighton, Oregon, CBI. Google me, as Kurt Signetti would say. Maybe we should do a segment of like Schaefer learns Creighton basketball history.
I don't know if we need to do that.
That's a good bit.
Is this what it was at that time? Because that looks more of what it is now.
Yeah, that looks closer to what it is now. I don't know if there would be any stock images or photos of from that fateful day. There's definitely video on YouTube because it occasionally does happen from time to time. So there was the line was fake, and Creighton lost in the CBI Game 3 Championship Series. Anyway, well, Schaefer might have to subscribe to things he doesn't want it to subscribe to in order to see footage from this game.
I think I found the court though, so. It looks like it was the photo that I showed you. Now
Okay,
it's
maybe
stuck in New York Daily News hell.
Yeah. Schaefer's going to have to sign up for something that he doesn't want to sign up for, which is not very good. All right. Should we do another stock up, stock down thing before we talk to Lauren here?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Which one you want to go with?
We did Calandria. Oh, I think we actually might differ on this one. Dana Holgerson with a different quarterback. So, because we keep in mind, we have preconceived notions on all of these. And I don't know that the spring game really affected much of them at all.
Oh, no.
Okay. Perfect. Just as long as we're clear there.
I would have come in stock down on this at the beginning of the year. I was stock down on Dana Holgerson the end of the year, basically the entirety of the 2024 experience. 2025 experience. I was pretty unimpressed by the entire year of Dana.
I would go as far as to say that you may have been out on Dana Holgerson.
Oh yeah, I was out.
Okay.
I wanted him out.
But you say that in the past tense.
Well, I say that to basically say that I'm at least allowing for, and this is not a stock up, but I did have in there neutral I am moving from stock
neutral.
down to just neutral.
Hold.
We will hold and we will see. I am not willing to say that a guy who looked like he had nothing in his bag of tricks will now suddenly have a lot more because of Anthony Calandria. They ran jet sweeps. They, we'll see. Because some of it is like, okay, like what does this sort of offense kind of look like? What do you want it to look like? We're going to have to get into the season to see when they get into conference play. Do they have pet plays? Do they have plays that they can just go to get yards? Do they have things that they can utilize the skills of their receivers to get them the ball easier? Do they?
Oh, an identity?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so, the identity last year was very much just find ways to get the ball to Emmett Johnson, which wasn't a bad thing, but they had almost no downfield passing attack and virtually no creativity in the red zone and all of these different things. I think the jury's still very much out on that, but I will allow for the difference in quarterback can allow Dana Holgorsen to call things differently or to,
yes,
game plan differently. So I have to at least allow for that.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different things for me here. Like I already am more excited about Calandria than I was at the end of the Dylan Wright. Like, so there's that part of it. And I was like, I'm not giving up on Dana. There's just too much evidence for me in his coaching career to be like,
but none of it recent.
I know. But I have this kind of inherent trust in him, and
I mean, I did, and now I don't have it.
But
I'm at least allowing for the possibility.
I think that they will create a situation that works for him, that works for Calandria. Now, I don't know if it's Sam said before when we talked to him just a little while ago, he was like, yeah, I think the quarterback fits him, or something along the lines of, I think the quarterback fits him better. Like, I don't know about that, because you look at what Nebraska, think about after they lost Raiola, they wanted to go and they went to Minchie. Minchie is more Raiola than he is Calandria. Calandria is a complete departure from what they've been over the last couple of years. Now, what do they want? I don't know. Sometimes you're at the mercy of what you're able to get, but Calandria definitely has some playmaking ability. Are you able to create an offensive quote unquote identity that works for him? Some of the identity is rooted in randomness, the randomness of making plays, and so that sounds like a difficult thing to sort of hang your hat on, but I do think they're going to do a little bit of that this year. But I think Holgorsen will put him in a pretty good situation because it's kind of simple, right? It's you have a couple things that you're trying to attack and get to during a game, and you're going to have probably a handful of plays that are going to be really, really good for you or really, really bad for you. And as long as you're pretty decent in the giant majority of them, and you win a few of those, you're going to have a pretty good chance. Like, I don't know. That's how I kind of look at it. But I still have trust in Holgorsen. That's the main point, I think, for me.
Don't have the trust that you have, but I am at least allowing for the possibility that it can look different with someone else. Now, he did have someone else in Latif, but you also had Sam in that interview at the 8:30 hour say that Latif admitted to being cautious. Nebraska looked cautious. Frankly, they looked terrible.
Risk averse.
And there wasn't much offense that wasn't Emmett Johnson produced. And right or wrong, that falls on the shoulders of the guy who calls the plays and sets the game plan and everything else. Like, they have to have something. And whether it's Calandria's ability to create after the called play, maybe that will allow it to look better. Maybe it's the offensive line can be so good that everything else can be run in such a way. I mean,
that's one of the topics on here.
He's talked about how they've had to reframe the wide receivers for when plays are extended. And so if that's an element of this offense, great. If the deep ball is back in here, great. Kind of still just need to see these things sort of work. And I need them to put up points, regardless of whatever the defense is doing. One of the astoundingly stupid things to me about where Nebraska football has found itself over the last decade is that you went out and you had Scott Frost, and after 1 year, you just watch your offense just go into the tank. And now you hire a sort of a defensive-oriented coach that has talked openly about how his offenses have been mediocre in the past, where it's a very clear line to me that if you can score around 28 points a game in the Big Ten, you are going to win a bunch of football games. And obviously, part of that is it's hard to score points in the Big Ten, but Nebraska showed that it's incredibly hard for them to figure out how to move the football after they get to the opponent's 40, in which they failed endlessly last season.
Yes.
And did not put up points because of it and lost multiple games, likely because of that as well.
Nebraska last year did score 28.7 points per game, but remember,
which is just built off of Akron. And,
correct.
They averaged 22 points a game in the other 10 contests.
So 28.7 was 59th out of 136 if you have the total picture. But as you mentioned, that comes from a 59-7 win against Houston Baptist, a 68-0 win against Akron. That's going to juice your numbers a little bit. In the final, let's just do October and November, I guess. The point totals for Nebraska were 28, 34, 6, 28, 17, 28, 10, 16, 22. Obviously, it fell off dramatically, but that was after Raiola got hurt. Also, the other thing I wanted to respond to Sam about was, what's up with this thing where people are starting to say more and more now that Nebraska would have won the USC game?
I mean, they were leading. They had the ball.
Yeah.
I think they would have won the USC game. I don't even think that's really in question. Their defense was outstanding that night, and they didn't have to put up that many points. They were moving the ball on USC too.
Yeah.
I think go back and rewatch that game. I'm surprised you're skeptical of this.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt at the time that I felt at the time that Nebraska was not going to go and win that game.
When they're up with the ball on USC's side, well, I mean, that just might be where you were at with things. Like, I can't explain that. But had there not been the strip sack fumble, I feel very confident Nebraska wins that game.
Yeah.
They were outplaying USC on every level.
But it was a Raiola thing? Like, if Raiola stays in,
Well, I think the idea is if they don't turn the ball over there, they kick a field goal and they go up 7 at that point. And then
disaster. I mean, yes, it was a huge disaster.
They were moving the ball on them too. Like, it wasn't, I mean, they had some drives in there where you would have liked them to finish it off better, which is a very Nebraska football thing for 2025.
That's all. I've just heard a lot of that. And like, I just have noticed that I've heard a lot more of it within the last couple months than I did at the time. And I thought that was a sort of revisionist odd thing.
I think if Dillon doesn't get hurt, Nebraska's probably looking at 8-4 or 9-3 with very realistic possibility in my mind.
Yeah.
Now, how that plays out with everything else,
I don't know.
No idea. We don't live in that world. We live in the one where he lost the football and they couldn't score any more points. And they ultimately lost the game.
What other game would they have won?
They would have beat UCLA and they could have beaten Iowa.
They could have beaten Iowa
with Dylan Raiola. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that game plays out differently. I think the season plays out differently.
There's no doubt. I mean, the defense completely fell off the rails.
Right, yeah.
So if they had won against USC, that changes everybody's mentality. Defense was a little bit leaky anyway. I don't know. I don't know how much differently that season goes if Dylan Raiola is healthy. I just
no idea.
I am sort of skeptical at the revisionist history of. I don't
think it's revisionist. He got hurt inside their territory with the football.
I phrased it wrong.
They were leading the game.
I am skeptical at the automatic handing over of 2 more wins.
Sure. Well,
that's where I'm
said 8-4.
Given that the thing was about the defense in the back half of the year.
So I said 8-4 or 9-3. That's basically winning the USC game and winning the UCLA game. That's 8-4,
which is Well, the UCLA game they won already.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is,
so you have 1 more win.
Yeah. So you give them 1 more win. That's 8-4.
But you said the Iowa game too. I thought.
I said if they go 9-3, that would be the other game that I would have thought they could have won.
Okay, gotcha.
So like that's the 50-50 that whichever way. Like they're getting the people feel better if they're 8-4. Than they did going 7-5 again, which are 7-6, whatever it was.
They're
8-5, or if they're 9-4 with whatever the bowl game is, you're probably not playing Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl if you're 8-4.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know what you're doing.
We
though.
haven't discussed that much at all, but Nebraska, in the most Nebraska way possible, drew probably the worst possible team that they could have for that bowl game.
That's
too.
definitely true.
I mean, you got an outside fringe playoff team that had something to play for in the sense that their coach just quit on them.
Yeah, well,
And they were better, too.
I actually felt like that made it more interesting when he quit. But they didn't have they had a couple big opt-outs and that was it. Like it felt like a team that was pretty well motivated.
Yeah, well, losing Emmett Johnson was bigger than I think anything Utah lost for that game.
Yeah.
Particularly when you think about how bad Utah's run defense was.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let's take a break. We will come back with Lauren Michelson from KETV coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Got an email here from the Equitable Bank Zone inbox from John. Says, we need to have a talk with Lauren. She said tutty when talking about a touchdown from the spring game during the news. Now, Lauren, first of all, is this true?
This is true.
The kids are saying tutty these days. John apparently is not a fan. He says, we have established that we will not use this term. And if she is going to be a part of the zone, being a guest of the zone now, she needs to cut it out. This is what John says.
John, you ad-lib. You do what feels right in the moment. It's spring. I'm not in mid-season form yet.
Honestly, if there was a time to use tutty, I think it is the spring game. Like it's a very informal. There's not that there's a formal touchdown, but an informal touchdown is a tutty.
Lauren, which touchdown from the spring game got the tutty drop?
I can't even remember. I mean, definitely not Jamal Rule's 75-yard touchdown. Maybe Connor Booth, like little casual little.
The game-winning tutty?
Game-winning, yeah, game-winning tutty. No, I think I said
I don't think I've ever said tutty
There's-
before now, by the way.
Yeah, there's a way she could do it. You know,
I can't.
Yeah, she's cool. I don't know. It just sounded like you had never said it before.
I hadn't.
So you have to practice, and you have to
All right,
say
I'll
with a
work on
certain
it.
amount of coolness. Speaking of coolness, how was the baseball game last night? I saw you out there. It got that cold front came in about 5th or 6th inning, got a little chilly.
Yeah, I regretted not bringing my gloves I had put away for the season, but that's okay. I mean, we survived it. Those games are always close, huh? Right when
Always.
you think it may not be.
There is a 100% chance that when Creighton and Nebraska play each other in baseball on Tuesday, that several stupid things are going to happen, and that was certainly the case last night. Well, I mean, what do you think of Nebraska baseball so far? The start to their season's been really, really good. I know you've been around them a little bit. What do you think when you watch them?
Yeah, I mean, they have a bunch of dudes. Like, it is so great seeing, because you have some guys that have been there through the thick of it, like the Dylan Carries of the team, and they no doubt deserve the success they're having. I mean, Will Bolt definitely got himself a ball club this year, and I mean, they went from, I don't know, they were unranked to enter the season. I don't know what type of expectations people had around them, but now to be 19th and in the race to host a regional, I mean, it's pretty dang cool. And I think Will Bolt knows he has a bunch of winners on his team, and I just hope they can keep it going, because it's pretty fun to have baseball around here in Lincoln in the spring. So let's hope they can host in the postseason.
Lauren, you were covering a lot of Nebraska basketball this year. I had joked at one point that you were going to be banned from road trips because Nebraska kept losing when you were going on the road, and then they got the win. You know, some people think of it as the first win in program history in the NCAA tournament. I think of it as the first road win that you covered, this past season down in Oklahoma City. But you were around this team all year. You were down there in Houston. What was the experience like, just sort of covering this team, and then it all kind of comes crashing down in that game against Iowa? You're in the locker room afterwards. They have that cool off period, but there just had to be a lot of emotion coming from that team with everything they accomplished, and then the season's over, and that group is never going to play together again.
Yeah, I've been in some very tough locker rooms, but that Nebraska locker room after the loss to Iowa was probably the toughest I've ever been in. And I think it's just because, and they said it in every interview I did, the loss stings, but the loss to Iowa makes it sting even more. And so it's just a hard way to end what was such an incredible season. But with that, like Sam Hoiberg said it best, he's like, this stings really badly right now, but give it a few days and I know we'll be able to sit there and think about just what we did and how we took this program to new heights. And I'm sure you guys all saw the social media video Nebraska basketball dropped of Coach Hoiberg's post-game speech, and which was, it felt like he had prepared it. That's how good it was. Like listing off every single senior, like and just going in on everything they did. And just, I mean, he's just a heck of a speaker, heck of a coach. But another cool thing that I don't know is as public, but Berke Bayutungel actually gathered the team, like players only after the loss. I don't know if it was before, I think it was after, just to have them recollect their feelings, and just talked about the year and everything they did. And the players all said that was a pretty big moment for them. And so, yeah, it was tough. But, like, I mean, one thing you can't argue is there's no question the Big Ten's the best league in college basketball this year. You have 6 teams in the Sweet 16, 4 in the Elite 8. Now you have 2 in the Final 4. And Nebraska had the success they did in a season where the Big Ten is on a pedestal right now. So I think they have so much to be proud of, so much to build off of, and it was a heck of a year for sure.
What was your sort of recollection, if you could go back to that moment? We talked about it on Monday of last week, the 4 guys on the floor thing. You know, watching on TV, it was really, I mean, shocking, obviously, at the time. And, you know, Schaefer was in the arena and he's like, well, I didn't even really know about it until 30 minutes after the game ended, which was surprising. How did you sort of take that in and learn about how it happened on that defensive possession for Nebraska?
Yeah, well, so it's hard for TV because in these situations, like, we're waiting outside the locker room. Like, I'm kind of watching from the tunnel. So I can't even, like, I can see the floor, but I didn't realize what was going on until, like, the security guard next to me was like, do you see that? And I, like, had to, like, go stand on a chair somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it's excuse me. This is how I view it. Is it a bad look? Was it a weird mistake? Like, both the officials shouldn't have let that happen. Fred shouldn't have let that happen. Yes. Would it have changed the outcome of the game? Maybe. Like, the biggest thing is they just went cold in the second half. They ran out of gas. And also, I just felt like the team was gassed in the second half. They just couldn't keep it up. So I don't know how big of a difference it would have made. If they would have had an open look, would they have hit it? I don't know. Based on how the game was going, probably not. So I don't like talking about it now. It's just kind of like there's nothing you can do. And it was a non-factor, like, in the locker room. Fred talked about it, and then Sam briefly talked about it, but that's about it.
So you've been around Nebraska athletics for a while now, you know, and doing the television role of a couple different stations, but is this the most like you've looked forward to another season with the potential of Frager and Sanford coming back? Berke can come back. You know, we don't know what's going to happen exactly with that roster, but relative to a lot of what you have covered, maybe save for Nebraska volleyball, this has to be among the most optimistic outlooks for the following year of these teams that you've gotten to know and covered over the last 4 or 5 years since you've been in Nebraska.
Yes, no doubt. Like, someone asked me this the other day, and I love covering volleyball. Nebraska volleyball is great. Creighton volleyball is awesome. But I am already so excited. There's nothing like March basketball, and the fact that Nebraska has now cemented itself in the discussion to be playing in the postseason is so exciting, and something I think this fan base has waited a long time for, and quite honestly needs after still so much to work towards and through with football. So I'm psyched. I'm happy to be home for a little bit after 3 weeks on the road. But ask me in a week, and I'm already ready for what next year has in store. And I think the coolest thing about Fred Hoiberg's message to the team after the loss in that video was like, guys, we are going to win these games in the future. We're going to compete for championships. You set this foundation. But I couldn't agree more. I think there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to Nebraska basketball.
Maybe by next year, TSA agents will get paid again.
Oh, poor Lauren. She wasn't part of Terminal C.
Yeah, you had by far the worst experience out of the local media that I saw.
Guys, I asked Andy, we rebooked at like 1 a.m, the night of the game, because you finished the interviews and you're sitting down to edit and working. And then we're like, oh, shoot, we need to rebook ourselves and get out of Houston. So I was like, let's do Hobby. I heard it's better than Bush. And I don't know if that just went over AK's head or if it was fully bugged. I don't know. I'm going to drill him about that more. But we flew out of Bush, and I even woke up at 6 a.m. in a panic, like, oh my gosh, we're going to be in these horrible lines, and tried to call our Amex to rebook us through Hobby, and they were completely sold out. So yeah, 3-hour TSA line with a camera slung over my shoulder. Andy's got like our live backpack. I mean, it was an adventure to say the least.
You made something out of it though. The content from the line was good, and you had time to do it, which is I suppose nice in a way if you really think about it. Okay, I have one more for you. Favorite? We discussed this yesterday on our tier ranks list.
Ooh.
What is your favorite sporting event that happens? Is sort of like random sporting event season that happens from like after the Final Four, after the national championship until football season. There's the Masters. There's like the Derby, the draft,
College World Series.
Like what? Yeah, I know. There's a lot of options for you. I'm trying to give you time to think because you're kind of on the spot. What do you think?
Well, okay, like as a fan, like I like just sitting home and watching the Masters. I'm a newer golfer within the last 2 years.
Nice.
So I've become like enthralled with I just like watching. It's just these big events and the storylines. To cover, I mean, I love the College World Series. There's nothing like it, and KTV goes all in on it. So every year it's a big ordeal, and I mean, I'm excited for that. I have to be. So yeah, those two.
Yep, I would echo that. That's for sure. All right, no mention of the college basketball crown by anybody, by the way.
I'll be locked in Thursday night.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Good to talk to you as always. See you later.
Thanks, guys.
Lauren Michelson from KETV.
Are there any places doing crown watch parties for the game on?
What a question.
On Thursday, are there any local establishments that are like, hey, we can do a promotion with Crown to watch the Crown?
Circus Sports in Las Vegas.
Local.
We'll see you
Host
there.
a party and Schaefer will be there.
Local establishment.
Local in Vegas. Kind of. You can take an Uber up there from the Strip. I am excited to get refamiliarized with my favorite arena in college basketball, the MGM Garden Grand Arena, where I saw Gonzaga absolutely house Alabama this year. And then after that, Michigan absolutely housed Gonzaga.
You might end up seeing the national champion at their apex from Vegas. Like, I don't know that they've looked as good as they were in that.
Probably not.
Now,
will they win?
The game they played against, what was it, St. Louis?
What a game. What a game.
Like, St. Louis played really well.
Yeah, they made every shot and still lost
Michigan
by whatever.
Still just demolished them.
Dump truck.
Like, they are really good. The
only question is who's a bigger dump truck? Is it Arizona?
Watch that game at?
So it'll be what, Saturday? Is it the first game or the second game on Saturday?
Second game. It's got to be it can't be the matinee.
Creighton would be playing the second game on Saturday if they win.
Is that real? Michigan
in the afternoon though.
Yeah, early afternoon.
So it'd be before.
Michigan,
They're not going to go
Arizona
head against the Final Four.
No.
7:49.
Final Four would start like right after that would be done.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're safe.
Probably the Circus Sportsbook, Las Vegas. I want my eyes to burn out of my head.
Oh man!
I watched a whole NFL Sunday there once, and I needed to go outside 3 times.
To lay the foundation. We can take the show on the road during the football season out there.
Sign me up.
Yeah, you lay the foundation. I will make sure it happens on my end.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and round things out on a Wednesday right here on 1620 The Zone. Stay tuned. Rest of the week, we're going to give you opportunities to win tickets to the Omaha Supernovas game on Saturday at the Chai. That game is at 3 on Saturday as the Novas host the Indy Ignite, Indianapolis, home of the Final Four, which happens on Saturday, and I'll be able to watch from the largest TV that you could imagine, which is something I'm excited about. Why am I watching the largest TV you could imagine? Because of the college basketball crowd, which starts tomorrow. You could hear John Bishop and myself right here on 1620 The Zone with pregame coverage beginning at 9 p.m.
Whoa.
That's what I'm talking
Late
about.
night basketball,
That's
and I'm
what
gonna
I-
have to stay up just so I could tell Schaefer what happened.
Yeah. Schaefer
I'll be
will watch
watching.
the crowd.
You're
Yeah,
actually
I'll have it on.
If there's
Well,
one thing we know
you-
about Schaefer,
you-
he's here for the Schadenfreude. If Creighton just so happens to lose to Rutgers tomorrow, we're never going to hear the end of it.
Probably
That's
not.
That is true.
That's so.
I don't think they're going to lose to Rutgers.
I kind of don't think so either. But it's the crowd.
I mean, if you're going just off of like basketball ability, they're significantly higher than
I hope so.
Rutgers.
I
You
hope
know,
so.
it doesn't mean that they couldn't put themselves in a situation where they can't stop Rutgers from scoring inside.
It
But-
has been a long layoff.
Yeah, they also could just come and like go shoot 60% from the field and
Who knows? I hope they have fun. You know, I'm dead serious. I know that sounds like
No,
kind of cheesy, but I really hope they have fun because the season has just sucked.
the season's been a slog.
Yeah.
Now you have an opportunity to go play some more games and enjoy,
And you send
you
Mac
know,
out
for
like
some of these guys, the last games of their career.
I hope Mac has fun. Like I hope he enjoys it. I hope he does whatever he wants to do in the I hope he, if he wants to play some press defense or if that's his
Oh, you're
dream.
gonna be like,
like-
he wants to play some baccarat or
Sure, absolutely. If he wants to go out to a nice dinner, then
what do
I
you
hope-
think his game of choice is? Can you find that out?
Yeah, I could probably find that.
Did he strike you as someone that's a gambler?
No,
He doesn't strike me as someone that's a gambler either.
no, he's they're for the players era, you would occasionally see some coaches
Sure.
around. Not him. Now he's a pretty like closed door
Sure.
guy anyway, so I don't know. But yeah, you
This isn't to say like if he's on the golf course, I'm guessing he's playing for some, well, maybe not. but-
maybe.
I would assume that
Yeah.
he is.
Right.
But I just don't like it's hard for me to imagine him sitting at a blackjack table next to some guy from Oklahoma that's, ripping a heater or what have you. Like it's hard for me to envision it. One, because of just his sheer size. Makes
He's
it
a
kind of funny.
giant man.
But it just doesn't seem like that would be him.
No, I don't think so either. But you never know. It's
Like-
last weekend.
Yeah. I don't see him pulling slot machines.
By the way, there's been a lot of chatter over the last couple of days about him coaching elsewhere. Eventually, just like I do think that could eventually happen from what it seems like at this point. I mean,
Sure.
I just think he was ready to hand it over to Huss at this moment and probably take a little bit of time off. And my guess is I
Does
don't.
he seem like he's going to be a good TV guy?
He would be a great TV guy if he wanted.
Couldn't that be the next iteration of what he does? And then
TV
he
for
kind of
a
gets
year?
to do what he wants to do.
What
and
happened
then-
to Jay Wright? Where did Jay Wright go from my television? Is he come back for the Final Four? Or did he quit TV too?
Maybe he comes back from the Final Four. I don't know.
Jay Wright was awesome.
Yeah.
And wherever they're got going on right now with all the different crews that they have, we got Nate Burleson going on this year. We got the
Which feels more like a
Yeah, so-
cross promotional event than it
Burles-
does a.
So the whole Burleson thing, I heard that EJ, because the studio was at New York and TNT's traditional studios are in Atlanta, and I think Ernie Johnson, who was originally going to be doing this in studio hosting, elected to stay put in Atlanta and not do the March Madness action. I think he might be doing Final Four. I'm not too sure about it.
I just hope he's not the new Gumbel. Like that is not what I need.
I don't really think that's what Nate Burleson is. He's like
No.
he's a morning show host.
I know.
now.
And then they were doing all these wacko game shows of like,
Yeah.
did you see the
They
one
were
that-
working a little too hard
the
on this
wheel.
thing.
I
Yeah.
watched
the
the
wheel
wheel.
thing where they were like,
it was very awkward. Not
Kenny
great.
Smith clearly didn't like it was like a rapid fire thing.
Yeah.
It was like who's the best, whatever. And then he just mentioned two guys from the game that was literally going on. It was halftime of the Iowa-Illinois game. Is like, I bet it starts. Because that's clearly the only person he could think of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I don't need them to know everything. I think Chuck is great for entertainment and whatever, but I don't know. They could do a little bit.
I'm also fine if they just sit and talk. Like, they don't have to stand by this wheel. You don't have to create some game for them.
Yeah.
You know, if you need some other like
randomness.
random content, bring in somebody else for that. I don't know.
Anyway,
it's not what I needed from it.
So Mac would be a great addition to that.
I agree.
Maybe he could do the wheel. He would be just as tall as Charles Barkley. So there you go.
That would actually be kind of fun.
the tallest studio set
He's
of
probably
all time.
taller than Barkley.
I don't know. How tall is Chuck?
Like 6'4.5".
Really?
He's shorter than you think for a guy who's an incredible rebounder.
He is 6'6".
6'6".
Listed.
I bet Mac is probably 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, he's Max taller.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. I would like to see it just for the visuals of that.
Yeah, Mac is taller.
But yeah, I just hope everybody has fun. That I know that was your question, right? What am I going to get out of this, or what is Creighton going to get out of this?
What do you want him to get out of it?
I want him to have good memories.
There you go.
That's all.
Right off into the sunset with a win.
Is that weird?
If
Winning
Bruntz
the
is
crown.
listening, he's going to hit you with the wuss bet from The Simpsons.
He is.
Where it's Marge is up there asking if she can just bet on all the horses to have fun.
You could make some things happen from a basketball perspective. Like, I don't know. The thing is, what makes it different, so distinctly different from Nebraska last year, is that there's a coaching change.
Sure.
With this one. And I just don't know what the roster is going to look like no matter what.
Yeah.
If you feel good
They're not
about,
going to recreate what happened with Nebraska. That was never going to be.
I know, but
different
that's the way
circumstances
that's
and-
the prism people look at it through. Obviously.
That's a stupid prism.
Thank you. I know. It's their own unique crown experience.
Right.
With the little crown guy but still Gus Johnson. So
who could be the little crown guy?
He really could
What if
be.
we just start referring to him as Gus Johnson, little
Oh,
crown
you're the
guy?
guy who does the crown.
Yeah.
You're the little crown guy.
Who does the crown? Can you imagine how quickly he would hang up if you brought him on the show and that's how you introduced him? The voice of the crown and nothing else. Gus Johnson.
He would say, ha ha, and then he would hang up. Yeah. Gus is gonna be chatting up guys in the pregame layup line.
Are you gonna chat up Gus?
No. No. I got my own. I don't know where we're sitting. I don't know where we're broadcasting from.
You're probably courtside. Who else is gonna?
Yeah,
No,
I don't know who else
you're
is
probably going to be up in
At
the
the
same area.
At the MGM, it was up a little bit, and at T-Mobile, I don't know. I've never been there.
I mean,
We'll all find out together.
Probably up in the seats is my guess.
We'll all find out together on 1620 The Zone over the next couple of days. Okay, that is going to do it for us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a crossover with Matt coming up next.